Hey, welcome back. So much ball grid. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. It is September 16th, I'm guessing, 2021. How's everyone doing today? This evening? This morning? Usually it's one of those two options. It probably can be any of the options, honestly. How's everyone doing? Yo, what up, Eric? Isangra and Chenchling. Yo, Chenchling, congrats on the finish, huh? My hair looks really wrong. Oh goodness, it's gonna be a long first game of stream. I know. I'm not looking forward to this. You go to this meta tab here. You go to the DECKLISTS.tab, and it's like, okay, admittedly, we keep going down. It's all yellow decks, and admittedly, you know, Osaka last week, and then before that, that was what was it at the Continentals? Displace? Who came in? Limes did really well with Acme, and Acme is just a grind. Bridgman, that was it. Anyways, we're going to go on and do the same thing. So we got to start here. Macaroni, how's it going? Baza, happy Thursday. Seabass, hello. Good morning, Andre. Excited for the stream today. Jingless, glad you can make it. Catching the stream second week in a row. Hype. Yo, Pouch, that is, careful. That's a habit. You, at some point, you might need a kick. But I appreciate you being going along for the ride. How's everyone's week? It's like a quiet time for Netrunner now. I said that last week. I don't know if y'all know, there was a big Netrunner tournament that went on over this weekend at the Games Center. It was the OTG Midwest Championship. I forget exactly what they call it, but there was a lot of people playing Netrunner. It was like 50 people for an in-person tournament, which I think makes it like the largest in-person Netrunner tournament for like a really long time, which is great. That was run by Orbital. I'm gonna say Orbital and then feel bad if it's not right. Am I right? Or is it Neuropanzer or Orbital? Orbital. I nailed it. All right, in one. That was this weekend. You can actually watch this if you want. Oh, that wasn't meant to happen. Hold on. Okay, you know what the branding still looks like. That's good. That's good. That's good. But if you want to watch this, you can check out just about all of it. It's VODed over on twitch.tv/San Francisco. So it was basically a big old Netrunner event with 50 players. They had a full day of Swiss, and then the next day they came back for the finals. And if you scroll down here, I guess it spoils it a wee bit, so I'm not going to spoil it entirely. But there's a lot of like big names of Netrunner, like really big Netrunner players. Dan Dargenio was there, which is really funny to see. I don't think he's been playing Netrunner for a while. If you don't know Dan Dargenio, he's the 2-time world champion, and he is playing on photocopied cards, because that's kind of one of the beautiful things about this game is entry is technically free if you have access to a printer. You can play with proxies. So he's just like jamming sports metal as aggressively as you can see Dan Dargenio do that. But you saw a lot of like players who I think used to be really strong competitive players who maybe haven't been playing for a while, and it's really cool to see these people still kicking ass at top tables, which is fantastic. Pants was there too. Okay, thank you. Solomir, I had a bit of an incident at work. I think some of my coworkers are a bit shaken by witnessing something distressing. Oh, I hope everything's okay. Sorry to hear that. Doomslug, how's it going? Hype, second it. Giles, how you doing? Good morning. Nice splash screen, thank you. There should be a new one. I really need to get that done. I need to make that a priority, but it's never been a priority, which is a problem. He hasn't been playing for a while, but he schooled me in the 5 minutes of game before he got repaired. He actually gets a game loss in the finals because he doesn't, and like I think Dan Dargenio, you've seen this before where he just like plays very aggressively at like fast and loose, and then something like he played a card wrong, and then at that point was too hard to fix, and he's new. I reckon some of the cards are newer to him, so yeah, it's a bummer to see, but interesting. I think I'm okay, but also because I decided not to be too nosy and peek at what happened. Oh yeah, that's probably for the best. I hope everyone's doing okay, Solomir. Today, honestly, I didn't know what we were going to be doing for the stream. I was really worried about it, and then I realized we can probably just try a brain damage deck, which is something we haven't done in a while. And I think a lot of that was just looking at traps recently, and then looking at how good brain damage could possibly be, especially infinite brain damage if you're looking at, unfortunately, Ganked. I don't know if we're going to do a Ganked deck again. Sanger says Eternal. Oh man, I would. I'd love to do Eternal. Eternal. I need to spend more time building. I haven't built any Eternal since Pat. Do you ever see the Steve and Lou kissing deck? No, I'm not sure what that means. But if it's a Lou deck with Steve in it, I'm behind it. Eternal with Janice and Ganked. Oh man, Janice. The problem is like stuff like that in Eternal is like, I don't know in Eternal if you can ever res a Janus without having like playing Blue Sun. And if you res it, it's not going to do much in Blue Sun, right? Like they see it coming. I just don't see myself ever spending 15 credits on an ice. in Eternal. Yeah, I don't know. This one was so fun. Why not PE with Overwriters? Well, so PE with Overwriters is not really a brain damage deck the way that I kind of want to do it. It's just a trap deck. It's just a deck that, you know, it's a Mushin deck, as we used to call it. And if you're winning on that game, you're generally winning by net damage. You're not winning by brain damage. When I say brain damage deck, I want to do 6 brain damage to someone, and then they die. And a lot of that is like playing some of the stranger cards that nobody else plays. Like Malia Zaloka? Is this what I'm thinking? Nope, not Malia Zaloka. Oh, dang. What's the other? Quinda, yeah, Darjin, thank you. Quinda Kahlo. Cards like this. Like, this is what I want. And unfortunately, we had actually, like, I'm going to say relatively good success with brain damage decks back in the day, but a lot of that was due to one of the best brain damage cards ever in the format, funny enough, which was Kill Switch, which is no longer a card you can play because it's a current. But this card says whenever, oh, excuse me, not even this deck. This card, yes, this card is very strong, but I'm thinking of the other current, of which I still don't know the name, that says whenever you do a brain damage, do another brain damage. I think it's not defective brain chips. Is it defective brain chips? Yeah, and this was so important because it's so hard to do a single brain damage. Making that a double brain damage is really, really important. But unfortunately, we don't have that, so we're gonna have to like scrounge for effects like Tempest and effects like Quinda Kahlo. So it's not gonna be easy, but we'll see. Sanjay's write-up on the Steve Liu deck is so good. Is that the one about the kissing deck? I don't think I've seen a Sanjay write-up in a while, unless it was the poem, because I remember reading a poem, but I think it wasn't Sanjay. I think Sanjay was like praising somebody on a poem they wrote. He said it's easy scoring ABT. That is actually a good point. We got Spin Doctors. Shouldn't be too hard, right? Kids in their gang should be using the Twins while we still can. Man, Twins is so much worse than the Ganked. Twins is so much worse, especially without I can't believe this card's still legal, but without the Foundry. You may, yeah. This is not a Ganked. I only once got a negative hand size win, but that was off the back of enforced curfew and defective brain chips. Exactly, yeah. And forced curfew also is not a card you can play anymore because it is a current, but this reduced their hand size by 1, which in theory could be a lethal play. There's also like the weird ones like lose 3 clicks or take a brain damage on reprisal if they trash the cards. There's a whole bunch of stuff and none of it's like particularly good, but the hope is you put all of it together in a deck and people don't know how to play against it and you have a shot. Again, I think we had some success with that back in the day, but I think we probably still even can dig up our deck list, but it's hard. Trash their board with infinite gank and get them down to negative hand size. It's really difficult. You can just kill someone straight up with brain damage if you do ganked into the appropriate, and we have the chance. But if you do ganked into appropriate Ravana, you can win. Sanjay's write-ups, okay. You used to also be able to use Chairman Hero. Yeah, he's gone too. Oh, this is a long write-up? I'm not... What's happening? All right, Sanjay. GG, close game. Incredible, not all overpriced. Couldn't find the other way. Wait, is this like a... Thanks millions to Ed, with whom I am powerful testing group, for collaboration with me on this list. Write-up I provide. For Continentals, I've played a deck built around my main network accomplishment. Successfully pressuring Nisei's to acknowledge Steve Cambridge and Rene Lou Arsemont's relationship canon with this comic. Comic with Steve and Lou. Lou says, last night was amazing. I wonder where Steve went. Steve says, I'm thinking I'm back, puppy. I went out to get coffee, but I didn't know what you like. So I got Americano and a chocolate spice triple nutmeg frap. Hopefully you like one of these. I'm happy to have either. You pick which one I get. And Lou looks at Steve with love. Is this canon now? Steve? Wait. I was thinking of Fenris, who's obviously going to be here because he's part of the lore. Okay. Card rationales on 0-5 writing, how well they fit the theme. Oh, so it's a theme deck. Okay, I'm in on this. How did this do with American Continentals? Aw, that's cute. I'll just try to understand this. I can see the gear starting to smoke. I don't honestly fully know what's going on. I like that Phil helped out with this image. I think that's nice. But I'm not aware of the backstory here. If they have a canonic relationship, color me interested. I assume that Lou would be with a Wilder, considering I think in the lore, he's like hanging out with lizard folk. Imagine not being on top of all the gay lore. I don't even know. I didn't even read the last lore piece, I'll be honest. I got to get to that. But I like the Lou lore. The Lou lore is good. Anywho, that's wild. This deck is probably fine too. Steve Cambridge with Carnivore is really nice. I got a negative hand size win with the minus hand size ID, enforced curfew, defective brain chips, and then using Project Vitruvius and advanced assembly lines to install Res Chairman Hero from archives after the runner's last click. Ooh, Rakatha. That is disgusting. Cybernex Division like rotated, right? It's not a card we have to consider again, because I'm honestly on board with that. All right, this is where we're starting. This is what Sokka played undefeated at the Intercontinentals, and this archetype we've seen now for a couple weeks. Which is basically just playing Acme and playing some of the meanest ice. Acme, mind you, says the runner's considered to have one additional tag during encounters with the outermost piece of ice protecting any server. So they're considered tagged, so you can play all this really strong ice that says if you're tagged, this stuff gets good. And this stuff used to be like kind of hard to play. It was considered positional ice, but in Acme, you just got put on the outermost, and then Data Ward becomes on encounter ability that's relevant for and the run subroutines because they are tagged, and then 8 strength, which makes this one of the hardest ice in the whole format to deal with. Paperclip for 7 and an on encounter is monstrous. On top of that, it's like 4 subroutines, so it's not particularly weak to something like a boomerang. It's not particularly weak to something like a botulus. It's just kind of good, and for 6, that's an immense amount of value. IP block also very relevant. We see a lot of Amakuas, and this is as hard end the run, because if you encounter this, you're technically tagged, so it's a trace and end the run. This is such a good piece of ice. Man, having an end the run that still has a face check on it is so good, and that's fantastic here in NBN. Other times we have a Thimble Rig. I think this is largely just to reposition ice. It also can be kind of taxing against Anarchs. You have to pay 3 to get through this every time if they're not running an Amakua, which is good. You got a Funhouse because I guess we play it. Rip new sound. Yeah, I know. Tollbooth, pretty big, and a lot of the ice in this deck is really expensive and big, but Hydra can be rezzed sometimes for like, 5 credits if you have the upfront money, and this is such a mean ice to deal with. 6 strength is really bad for Black Orchestra. I mean, MK Ultra. And then why is there a Thoth in this list? Why? Why is Sokka playing Thoth? There is no reason why anyone should ever play Thoth. Unless you think it's a tag me meta. And even then, does anybody have any good understanding why this is happening today? I did like Greg and CDC's innovation in these decks of adding Keegan Lane. It's a good include for the 419 crit matchup. So if I'm not mistaken, there's no window to use Keegan Lane though, right? I heard on the comms that Keegan Lane was meant to be like the clutch card on last weekend. But from my understanding, if you're considered tagged when you encounter the ice, there's no window to Keegan Lane someone. Unless they like take a Funhouse tag and go through it. Thoth is slightly better than Funhouse. We just keep lowering the bar, and then eventually we're in a Thoth meta. Yeah, I know. Thoth gives it you take on a counter. Yeah, Thoth you can't jack out, but like the subroutines are awful. You basically, I take 1 net damage, lose a credit. Will we see Tau meta versus CTM positionality? I don't know, Connor. I don't think there's really a Tau meta right now, and CTM positionality isn't like that relevant. If you want to like goof up CTM ice, like a lot of it's just kind of low end taxing ice. Sometimes it ends the run, and then they have one big ice for the remote server. It's true you can maybe get the toll booth off the remote server, but still, most of the ice they put is pretty annoying. Latara, is this a reference to Braindance campaign? Not exactly, but Braindance is kind of just like a term that shows up in Cyberpunk, right? Ban all the good ice so that becomes main duck playable. Yo, we're excited about this. And I'm not sure how much this differs from Bridgman's list. This is the poem, maybe. Yeah, this is probably the poem. But we have a really strong agenda suite, right? Like 3 Bologna, 3 send a message. Okay, maybe we don't pay for our thoughts. That's fine. We got the good assets. We want to score only a couple of these agendas. We have a single exchange of information, but no way to actively tag someone. So this is if they tag themselves, which is fantastic. We have Anoetic Void and 3x Crisium because the meta was really full of Apocalypse. But on top of that, it is pretty good against things like Stargate, things like Diversion of Funds. There's a lot of reasons. We have a Salem's Hospitality, which is just like a really nice inclusion into a meta that has a lot of max. And this deck was no doubt teched to the Intercontinentals meta. And then we just play slow as all heck, and we play Subliminal Messaging and Anoetic Void. There is a chance that this deck could get away with playing something like, oh man, what's the name of that one that came out as a champ deck where you pay a credit and then you can end the run on that remote? It has like a blood theme, I think. Yeah. I played some Wu today, and I do wish I was Tao. Did I remember the turn 1 Rizekis? Yeah, against this deck, turn 1 Rizeki is playable. That was something that's been like really slow recently, but this deck is slow as molasses. Embolus, yeah, thank you, Mark. That's exactly it. I mean, 2 credits and 2 net is a decent amount compared to Funhouse. They just bounce off and you're down 5 credits for nothing. We're still comparing it to Funhouse, and I feel like that's like saying, you know, well, I can't even think of like a really bad ice right now. What's like the worst ice in the game? Acme's the hidden gem that caught everyone by surprise. This deck is great. Yeah, it's like people weren't excited to play Glacier because Glacier just seemed kind of really bad against Max, but the Ice Suite in here is like good. It'll do it. And I think a lot of that part of that is like the data ward is really annoying. You need something that you can actually put in front of the data ward on a Glacier. Yes, you're right. So if you actually want to do a 2 ice remote, your best option is Funhouse data ward or Thoth data ward, which, you know, Acme's GameNet 2021 edition. Don't at me. No, I 100% agree with you, Eric. And like, I never loved GameNet, and I think this is the same threat of that like 50-minute Swiss round for a single game sort of thing. So we'll see. We'll see if it's that slow. I think it can be slow as hell. Excuse my language, but yeah, it doesn't seem very fast. It's a thought, but influence is really tight. You hate yourself in play shaper. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, let's import this and get this in. Deck is definitely good. Burk bugs, yo, skip on. Burk bugs, yes, but what about like what's the worst ice in the modern meta? I'm gonna say Rhyme, and people are gonna be upset at me, but okay, Rhyme. Is it like Watchtower? Is it Red Tape? What is the worst ice? Next Opal. Next Opal has potential. Oh. I think next, oh no, the stream is playing. I can't do that. That's probably not a good idea. Next Opal is like, okay. I've seen people unironically play Next Opal. Oh, no. I'm thinking Next Sapphire. Yeah, Next Opal is really bad. Yeah, this one's quite not good. This one's the one that you would consider not putting in your Next Ice deck. Even if you need a Next Ice, you'd be like, I'm going to pass. All right. Eric has counter queued us. Let's 419 this up. Oh, it's Tag Me Zaya. Okay. Here we go. Rhyme is actually pop up 4 and 6 in the game net matchup that sometimes does other stuff. Yeah, I know it's not the worst. And like people say Jinja deck or something. Thanks, man. I just don't like it. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is Tag Me Zaya, which is not great for us. I'm gonna mulligan this hand because we can't protect against diversion of funds. We can't really protect against hot pursuit. IP block on HQ is fine. We have Chrysium for HQ, and Chrysium on R&D is really important if we have to duck counter surveillance. So assuming this is Tag Me Zaya, you're gonna float tags, gonna play resources that we have to trash. So we need to keep our money up, which we don't do quickly. We have very few econ cards. I think it's like Hansei Review, 2 Sure Gambles, and then NGO and Rashida. So I think we're gonna spend a lot of time just clicking for credits. Like here, I think we just click. Otherwise, we should have opened with Spin Doctor, and I'm not gonna do that because it's too late. The real reason people are on Thoth is that it's better than Toll Booth and Funhouse for Acme. There aren't that many other code gates worth playing. Oh, I'm so upset by this. All right, so bravadoing in, and I think these tags are actually going to power him up. Now the tag is going to stick. He has 1 tag, but if he's Tag Me Zaya, he actually wants to keep the tags. I'm really happy. You see, this is Tag Me Zaya, so we have to trash that. That's super important. Now, luckily, we don't have to worry about the positionality of our ice, and we have to play as slow as possible. And we actually are going to maybe come to a point in time where we're going to Salem's Hospitality for things like a counter surveillance. Now, I am going to go into another window, and I'm going to open up the Zaya decklist that Chenchling, I think you're playing, yeah, at OTG, and see what the issues that we have to deal with are. So 2 counter surveillance, we want to Salem's that. There's no recursion, but yeah, hot pursuit, jailbreak, we have HQ pressure, and we have a sneak door beta in this list, which is not something I was going to respect. And with a paperclip in the bin, like we're in a really bad spot here. We'd have to basically Chrysium HQ, and hopefully we have an ice that we actually can do with this. Oh, that's actually quite okay. We're on 4 credits. Oh, I was going to hit the hedge fund button. Now everything is really goofed up. Oh, this is really not pretty, I'll be honest. This is very much not pretty. I think we'll still install this, right? Just because if he does hit the 1 in, whatever. Sneak door beta for no influence is too good to not take. Well, that's actually marked. I think sneak door beta is kind of like an unusual card in the meta right now. That's because a lot of criminals are running things like Rozeki, which takes up your influence. It also doesn't work with run events. So I wouldn't say that it's actually something I would expect in most criminal decks. I do. It's obviously a good card. Hey, Mitch McGrath. Yo, number. Love the channel. Mentioned you to a guy who I taught Netrunner shortly before the game died. And last night he was like, holy cow, this guy is God. I appreciate that. I'm not sure if it's deserved, but thank you. Thought they used to be a pet bad ice of mine. Man, give me information overload back. Whoa, what is this? What are these colors? Yo, this is cool. JNet, you're doing good work. No further action, pass priority. This is all new. I could res the Crisium, I'm not gonna, because there's no on-run trigger here. Oh, you know what that means. Oh, no. Come on, Eric. Hit the Spin Doctor, probably gonna trash that. Yeah, the new timing was implemented. I think that was implemented. I think Korean cards were implemented too, if I read that wrong or right. Zai gains 2 credits because they access the Crisium. It's a really cool interaction. A mutual favor is going to come down. We did lose our Spin Doctor into getting a Book Altar down. So the Book Altar is the respect here for the Hydra. Hydra is 4, 5, 6, 7 to get through the Book Altar. So we could do credit, hedge fund, and then just hold. We're not going to be able to res this. But if a diversion comes out, we can res the Crisium. It's a mini Ominar. Sneak Door is almost like an Anarch card the way it triggers. Oh, sort of, yeah. Yeah, I think he's going to trash this and then come back. Continue to movement. I got to actually read these because normally no further actions back here. Bologna for 5. He's going to steal it, so we keep the Crisium. Not great. I'm going to actually give Herald the title of the worst ice because not only is it unplayably weak, but it can be trash for 1 credit, which can't be said for any other ice. Yeah, Herald is... Oh, this is really bad. I don't... This one seems bad. We didn't res here, so I think it looks like 100% a Hydra. Ugh. Yeah, this is not good. Sometimes these sort of decks are pretty slow. Used to run like attitude adjustment. I don't think this list does with Spin Doctor being a new card, and we probably should have just jammed it out and cleaned our hand, but we did not prioritize that. So we'll see. The problem is Eric is going to respect the Hydra and not just dunk into it. So we have to draw for an ice here. Hansei Review means we could discard the Salem's probably. I don't know when we're going to play it. It's going to be a while. They did just throw out a diversion. Counter Surveillance, he's only on 2 tags, so I actually don't know if we need it. The deck probably runs 3 Spin Doctors. Yeah, so I think we could do that and just install this on the table. Because we're going to throw out a card anyways. If we had a Spin Doctor, we would have thrown out Agenda there. We definitely discussed if Attitude Adjustment was a slot you could find. Yeah, it feels really good. It feels really good. No further... Wow, this is goofing me up. Yeah, this is obviously not good that we're throwing out Rashida. It forces Eric to do that for a click. I'd hit the Rashida Samus as a huge way to win. I think you might be right there that the Rashida was less good. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I think you might be onto something there. There's the Mina down for free, so that's a 3rd tag. Now, all our ice, we don't install Thimble Rig because he breaks it for 2 and we lose 1. It's generally a bad trade for us. We haven't seen boomerangs or inside jobs yet. Yeah, this is so bad. What do we do? What do we do? Oh, Jesus. We hope Eric beefs it into a Hydra? This is really rough. This is pretty unusually bad. The cool thing though right now is the quantum predictive models are all alive for us. So those are actually, I think out of all the agendas right now in R&D, the only one that can be stolen is the 50 minutes because Eric doesn't have 5 credits. Eric is tagged. Fuck, are you serious? I said the only agenda he can steal is literally the 115 minutes because everything else is Bologna or Quantum. Oh my god, that's ridiculous. We have to shuffle that back in this turn. Oh, this is getting better, isn't it? It's not getting better, y'all. Might have to feed a send a message or as the hydrate. Yeah, I think you might be right. Maybe we could have installed that on the table, but I wanted to put it behind a piece of ice. Now, I think we throw out 2 cards here. So I think we shuffle this back. Otherwise we lose or potentially lose. And then we just take a credit and we can shuffle 2 back in. This looks really, really not good. I was considering Amor is the second worst because it does do nothing and then trashes itself. But I guess you can sometimes high roll and trashing Book Altar. Yeah, Amor actually has a place. I learned this week. Amor has a place for the sort of grind death decks. Ah, man, no further's up there now. Who tell you Spin Doctor works? I read forums. And there's the obelisk. So his hand size is now technically 8. Interesting, like Toll Booth isn't the worst. We could set up Toll Booth and Doetic. Grind decks are so dead. No, they really are. But I think people love A more because they think the damage, like, oh, if you high roll it, yeah, you can rip. I mean, drew the booth. Yeah, the booth is like okay against Amina. It's like, you know, 7, which is good. It's like one of the best things we got. I just don't want to put anything in there. I think we have to make sure that counter surveillance can't just fly off too easily. But our econ's a problem here. We have to basically give out to send a message. Now, interestingly, his money is actually kind of bad. That if we could afford to res both of these, which of course we can't, that we could actually just jam the Bologna and then he would need basically an inside job. Oh, subliminal, that'll do something. Do we just jam the Bologna here? Because he's on 2 credits, so you'd have to do like basically dirty laundry archives into inside job. And even that wouldn't work. I'm just gonna score this. Is this a politics show yet? Yeah, Zeroth. It is. It's always been. I listened to Jason Kenney do his talk on Global. People seem really pleased with the guy. Turtle wasn't a thing, then they've been everywhere forever. I'd have run Amor and Scorp back in the day. Yeah, in Scorp, you could do it. There's an Amakua hitting the bin, and the IP blocks on 2 centrals makes the Amakua a bit harder to use. Friggin' Kenny. All right, so we're just going to take that and score this out. It does technically give us our money back, but not our time back. As a core set NBN guy, I've never sleep on the booth. Yeah, booth has always been relevant. This card's old as the hills, and it's always been relevant. This is where I wish I had a Salams, right? Oh my god, I wish I had a Salams here. Oh, we have a Thoth. It's going to be so good. He's going to have 4 tags. The Trace 4 is going to be relevant. Oh, it's going to be so good. Okay, so now we just try not to lose off centrals. And not have enough money. As a rogue trading, we have to trash that. It's way too much money. And this is the cool fork here. Like, we trash this. I don't know. Do we trash a class act? I don't think we do. I don't think our money's good enough to do that. Yeah, I don't know. But we can't let him click for 12 next turn because he needs to access with 4. If he has 4 tags, he needs to access with at least as that much money. No further action. What is this? Is he just installing out? Yeah, there you go. Credit kiting just to get the 3rd class act out. Because credit kiting lets you install any card. It also gives a tag, which, you know, abstractly is good for the deck. So we have maybe 1 more credit kiting. Honestly, I think I'm gonna click for credit here. I'm just worried we won't have enough money to like contest this server and like Anoetic if we need to. Yo, Duke, how's it going? Should we have saved the Subliminal for Void Fuel? Thanos, there's a chance. I wasn't really considering it. Oh, this seems fine. So if we res the Hydra, it's really bad for us. This draws a card. I don't think we res anything here. Actually, we have to respect Political Operative. I just don't know if this deck would run Political Operative because it's a tag-based deck, and you really can't float that card. Yeah, there's a chance, but the Subliminal on 5 cards doesn't change much. I wanted the money, but I think there's a good reason to keep it. So if we res this, we deny a card. I don't know. Am I just to deal with Chrysium? Yeah, I think he's just taking the Chrysium down here because he has like another diversion in hands. Lucky Charm incoming. Oh, yeah, Raketha, actually, that's a good point. Lucky Charm is probably here. Yeah, I think for the Lucky Charm, we'd res the Chrysium. Access the Anoetic, trashing that. IP block and the Chrysium. So he's going to get also 3 credits with Zaya, which is good value. Or 4 credits. There's Lucky Charm. All right. So we're fucked. The question is, what do we res? Because we should res Chrysium. Yeah, the Lucky Charm is something that was in the list that we could have respected there. And this requires a successful run. I was actually joking the right way. No. I think it was the right thing. I just need to do the math here, right? Because he has 14 credits somehow. So he res this for 6. It's going to cost him 7. He'll gladly take the tag. So he's down to 7. So we do 14. We could res both of these and still have money left over for the Anoetic. Actually, we won't, because if he uses a Mina, we won't have the credits. Yeah. I think he's going to inside job from hand because he has to discard at least 2 cards. Wait, that actually makes it worse for him sometimes. So this is 7. So if we res for 7... So if we res for 6, he's on 7, he's spending 3. And then if he continues, he might jack out because we can threaten, what's it called here? Hydra. Interestingly enough, if he continues and he actually hits a Thoth, it's like not game losing, but kind of bad. Because a Thoth here is bad, a Hydra here is bad. I think he should jack out. He's thinking about it. He also has to respect Bologna, right? Like, he only has 4 credits. There's a chance that this bravado is wrong. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of ice that's a bad blowout here. And he hasn't seen any of that ice yet. Continuing. Oh, beans. Well, it ends the run. Because he's on 1 credit now, so he can't break, so he's going to bounce off this. Now, he will still have like 8 credits, I think. Okay, so we have to Anoetic. Because he uses Lucky Charm. We're spending so much on this. This is probably not correct. Pash 2 and Trash 2. Yeah, there's no way that this is correct. So the Spin Doctor seems like a good card to keep in our hand. But I'm glad he doesn't have the Charm to some extent. Oh, that's awkward. Hitting Thoth on 6 tags got me feeling... I'm not going to read that. But yeah, Thoth would have been really good there. So we can do Credit, Install, Advance. That puts us on 5. But we, in theory, want like 2 cards in hand. Because he has perfect math on this. Wouldn't Boom be included? There's no Tag Punch in this deck besides Exchange. And likely we still have, well, there's a lot of agendas. I think we have to just like expect that we're going to lose to send a message. We do Credit, Install, Advance. We could do Install this, draw 2. I don't know what we'd hit. I think you want 3 credits. Yeah, 3 credits is better because it protects the remote a bit better, right? So we're having the Anoetic still possible. We're having the Chrysium still possible. And we still have enough money. This is a cool fork. With the rogue trading here. Yeah, man, I really, I think goofed it with the Salams. I think we would have lost it by now. Threading the score is okay. I think we threaten the score, we res the toll booth. And we're not going to res the Chrysium here. What? How does he keep hitting agendas? We have so little agendas in this deck. He's back on game point, but it's only the 15 minutes. And, excuse me, all the send messages. So it's either like we give him 12 credits or we trash this. And I think we trash this. His money is really bad. And that way I think we just click back to 3. Like we can't give him 12 credits. Because now he has to try and win off singles unless he can scrounge together like the money for, what's it called? Oh, okay, well, 9 credits. For counter surveillance. Because counter surveillance he needs to access with 7. Zoomers hate it. Oh, there is the sneak door. That is cool too, because this deck does run a lot of like HQ targets. And Geofront going down. Okay, now actually we don't have the money for, or the cards for this. And if we draw into an agenda, it's really awkward. It's an exchange, which isn't likely to be relevant unless, because we win off of this. Oh, that's really awkward. So we'll score that. We'll res this. Okay, we're on 0. He has full rain. Can't diversion us though. Just notice the his hand size. Yeah, Boom doesn't even do that much. And we know that he has the card in hand, right? Like we know that he has the counter surveillance and it's probably coming down this turn. Well, maybe not. Maybe this actually will slow him down a bit. Now the thing is, if he counter surveillances and he hits a quantum predictive model before he hits any other agenda, we win. So like our agenda suite's not the worst. Oh man, my kingdom for market forces, you know? So we could exchange. It doesn't do anything. I think we just have to hope quantum predictive model gets us there. I honestly don't know if Rashida is worth playing. Yeah, it probably is, because if we draw quantum sooner. Also, we can top deck at 15 minutes on 2 credits. Counter surveillance counts them 18 right now. No, just 8 plus, yeah, whatever this is. So this is 2-4. He couldn't inside. He could inside job actually because it's not a run event. Counter surveillance, is it a run event? No, it is a run event. And this is 3. Yeah, something like that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 18. Yeah, exactly. And it's gonna get a bit more now, but he's gonna get an access to 9 credits. Yeah, there you go. That's what he's gonna do. So if we get the 15 minutes in hand, we win. Ah, it's a quantum. Well, at least we removed one of those. So I think we just put the quantum in server 3 and then click for credits. Well, no, we should double advance this. Just so if they diversion us, we can still do credit and score. Trigger run action? Yeah, power guys. Yeah, I think it's a run action that triggers off the resource. So that's going to happen right now. So this looks either like an NGO front. Now, obviously, if he just snake doors into the send a message and every time he runs, he sees 2 cards, we lose off the spot. But again, if he does go for counter surveillance or in fact any run on R&D and hits one of the 2 quantums before he hits anything else. And being has too many cards where you want them when the scenario comes up, but never have it in the scenario. See market forces. Yeah, I think that's a big reason why you can run though, like counter surveillance from Wayland, stuff like that. So we could lose here. Rashida, send a message. Fuck. Oh, we got robbed there. Isn't it 1? Wait, it's 1 quantum? Oh, it's only 1 quantum? Oh, man. I thought it was more than 1 quantum. Ugh. I wonder if you just would have hit this button. I wonder if the send a message in here was actually better. Wait, send a message in here would have been better. This remote's like pretty safe, isn't it? Why did I not just jam the agenda? Like the only thing if we're jamming the agenda that we lose to is diversion. But diversion run the remote might have been possible. Thanks for the game. Yo, Eric, thanks for the game too. Man, you really just got all the good accesses. Oh man. I thought we had more quantum, so I wasn't that worried about R&D. I pitched a Salem's early, which I think we needed, but it's not like the counter surveillance mattered. Quantum in new server and other agenda scoring remote might have been safer. Yeah, Fluffy, I kind of like that too. We put quantum out here and then we put the agenda in server 3, but then we can't advance it to be scored. And then I think Eric could siege us off of like diversions because I think we've only seen 1 so far. Yeah. So that would be a problem because he has 2 diversions in hands and we can't really stop it. Like this wasn't rezzed. So I think Eric can get us down to 0 and maybe charge server 3. I think maybe if anything, luck is a skill. We honestly could have considered putting the send a message in server 4 and put the quantum in server 3. So the other gens were more than 9 cards deep, so CS 101. Yeah, CS wouldn't have hit anything. But I don't think Eric was going to CS this turn because I don't think he needs to unless he panics off this. But I think if you diversion, you don't have to worry about this. Unless it's exactly the quantum because the 15 minutes we would have scored. Yeah, keeping the cat in hand I think was okay because of the DECKLISTS pass. I think keeping the cat would have been fine. Because I think Eric will slam before he checks us. Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's true. The quantum there would have done it. Yeah, Eric, there's a quantum in the remote if it wasn't obvious. At least that wasn't a grind of a game, but like that was an aggressive deck. Like they had all their breakers up really soon and they pressured our economy. Like we weren't doing anything fast, but I think actually that's probably par for the course. Let's do another one. Yeah, I feel like we could have thought out that last turn a bit more. And maybe tried to get in Eric's head a bit. I really did think we were on 3 quantums though. I felt good. So we're on like what? Yeah, that makes sense. We're on 18 points at 3-pointers and then 2 1-pointers. I do love Acme though. I don't know. I used to love Acme and I think so much of my love with Acme used to be because of what was that one that took all your money away unfairly? Universal connectivity. And I think that once that rotated, it wasn't just tricks, it was just like your ice is really good. And just that like idea of like, oh, in this deck your ice is very good is almost never exciting to me compared to like tricks. Yo, Yusengren. Bye stream. All right, so I think Yusengren's gonna get them Rizekis. Get them Rizekis. Opening hand, Hydra, QPM, not amazing, not the worst though. But I feel like we could just mulligan for a bit better here. I honestly don't know how Kaba is going to deal with a Hydra. This could be a Mayfly build. I'd be kind of surprised. Yeah, this seems very comparable. Do we jam 2 subliminals? Turn 1? I wrote a very familiar fan ID in 2017. To make the ice just better? You like a fun man? Okay, let's go. So we can play 1 subliminal. I don't know if we want to play 2. It does pad our hand a bit, and we have some of the best. I'll draw. Nothing really want to jam in a remote. Thoth into QPM is like pretty safe, which is nice. I wouldn't expect too much pressure here. So we can do this on HQ. I reckon we want this on R&D. I don't know if this can be our scoring remote. I think we want Data Ward inside and Thoth on the outside. And I imagine they're going to try and win off R&D. So I like having the big snakes on R&D. Playing 2 is clicking for credit. Yeah, I know. The second one, mind you, doesn't do too much. Just the click for credit. Split only refunds the first time, yeah. Sometimes it's better than clicking for credit if you got Jeeves. So we'll see what Cabinessa does. 1 Rizeki from hand. Wait, what? They played Rizeki from their stack. They simul-chip the Rizeki. Okay, so now we have to compete with 2 credits a turn. Now, we are getting more than that. Am I right? Subliminal messaging. I just don't want to jam this thing out early. Getting this thing out early on a score is like not the worst, but a lot of that not the worst is bound to the fact that we have exchange. Now, obviously 15 minutes would be a bit nicer than this, and I don't think you'll contest an early card behind a single ice. So I think we're just going to set up. I really wanted the Thoth on the outside. Excuse me. I feel like these cards are really small. It's because they are. I really want the Thoth on the outside, so I don't want to commit this to the I don't want to commit this to the table just yet. We could just do QPM into Thoth, but again, this on the outside seems much better. Oh no, we could still put the Data Ward on the outside. Yeah, this is fine. But then we have to commit to scoring this instead of like, excuse me, getting a Rashida or a daily quest or something. No Res 20 game? I don't know StarCraft. I'm sorry. I've literally played like no StarCraft. Okay, so they're on a pawn shop build. I'm not expecting we need Chrysium from HQ. You actually can put this on top of a daily quest if you really need to. Spin Doctor's click 2. Yeah, I think it's fine. Like we just want to find our answers or find what we want. So this we can really put anything in front of it. Sentries is probably what they're worst at breaking. I don't know if they're on Ika. Maybe they're on Nanotech if they're like a really slow deck. And I guess we discarded Chrysium. I'm not too excited about Chrysium, but like it's going to take us a long time. We haven't drawn any economy cards besides Subliminal to like grind up to the spot where we're feeling good. All you need to know is that carriers equals instant win, just like in Netrunner, except they got banned here. Zoomers with their no SC. Okay. Double simul chip. So that's all the chips. Okay, that's exactly what we wanted. I guess we had 2. I don't honestly know if we do. So we can shuffle back Chrysium here, which isn't amazing. I honestly don't know if we pop this. I don't think we pop this. I think we just overinstall on this. And then click to 10. In fact, to res everything here, we only need 10 plus 7 minus 5. So we only need 12 credits. So we're going to be short. That's good enough. I don't know. I remember being a kid and playing Warcraft 3, and that was pretty cool. But that was mostly the level editor. You can make your own heroes. Good time. Pantograph? Ooh, okay. This is not Tau, but that just free installs on a deck that probably wants to install a lot because of Pawn Shop. So Rashida out of this hole. Subliminal as well. We're going to have a lot of cards in hand. Okay, and now we have the money we need to do the things we want to do. We will always Subliminal. So I think we want to just, we're going to have to throw out a card here. That'll be the Subliminal. So we'll do Hedge Fund. And then I think we want to just build Super Remote. I think we just build Super Remote. I think we just want an agenda to score out, honestly. I think if anything, they'll like, I don't know. Are they setting up for a Hushuk? Like how slow is this deck? I feel like this ice is already really good with Anoetic that I don't need to overcommit to it. Stack Remote, I don't know, Norbert. Like this already seems really expensive and really good for us. I also tweaked the editor in WC3. The editor was so good. Oh, this could be Mayfly. Like here we just spin doctor into a new remote. Like we just want an agenda. This is the opposite of last game. Last game we drew all the agendas. Okay. Install advance is like a pretty soft deal. They just got their pawn ship down, so now they're going to be a bit more explosive. If we put the data ward in front of here and then we don't res it, the Hydra is a fair bit worse. And by fair bit worse, I mean 3 net damage worse. Ugh. We have sentry. Yeah, okay, whatever. We should hopefully have the money to do this. And we can just put something on archives. I don't think it matters. Maybe we should just be clicking for credits here. Yeah, that's the only thing. Is like Acme says the outermost. So even if you don't res it, this is the outermost. So in theory, we could like short sell ourselves. Put myself up here. Shaper doesn't go up there, right? Shapers don't have resources. Yeah, there's the Mayfly. So this is an AI. Well, we have the IP block, which is really good. This thing is really low strength. And so far we have 8 strength into 6 strength into 6 strength. And I don't think you can Gabriel Celessi here. So it's going to be really expensive. Maybe not Apoc Wu then. I don't think it's an Apoc Wu with like 2 Rozekis and a pawn shop. We're simul chipping in. Oh, this is really cool. They just want to clear the Anoetic, it looks like. But I'll pretty happily res some ice here. Now, they have a lot of money here. They have 9 credits on here, 5 credits on this. 3 credits on the on encounter to not take a tag. Which makes the Hydra a bit worse, but not too much worse. But this thing is 11 credits to break with Mayfly. 11. They really need some sort of tricks here. Because this is not sustainable. Okay, they're just ending the run. So they're just face checking. Now this only crashes if they use the program and they didn't. Now, do they have access to Clot? They do. So I will just do server 1 advance and I'll ask for action here. In theory, you should do this on everything, even NGO fronts. Because in theory, they could like SMC for Clot. And you want to let them do that. Oh, now they get a free install. I wonder what they can do with that. Like Conduit, Egret, Daily Cast. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. That's a lot of value. Free install, get a credit, get that down before start a turn. That's good. Do we want to shuffle anything in here? Yeah, sure. Why not? We'll take another spin doctor, and I think we'll do a Rashida. I think next turn we're trying to jam the NGO front. And now they do have to respect exchange information because we do have the 1-pointer and the other 1-pointer in hand. I wonder if it's how much worse it is to play. It's probably a lot worse to play Fly on the Wall. I reckon it's a fair bit worse. I don't have the smarts to know what to call with this. What would you call with this? Jailbreak? Overclock? Rejig? Mayfly? You're running out of money? Yeah, I know. I really do know. Now hopefully they do something. What do you Salem's in this matchup? Conduit? You gotta stop playing cards out there. Okay, I'm not gonna build another server. I'll be real small head down here. Trashing the Mayfly, wow, okay. Unfortunately, Mayfly doesn't work with Cyber Trooper to loot, so I'm not too worried about that. But they also could be like on full Anarch suite and with Cyber Trooper Tal loot and having that sort of engine. Yeah, Hushuk, yeah, maybe it's Hushuk. Right now we're at 2-2-2-2, 1-1-1. Like it's not obvious. Maybe 4 2s is enough to be like worried. We only have a little, it's another Mayfly. Wait until you have 2 Salems in hand. I think this deck only has 1 Salem's, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it only has 1 Salem's. Oh wow, I was just about to res this. They were gonna hit this and take a tag. Oh, okay. Now the problem is like if we like, you know, Anoetic Void will be an issue. But luckily they're spending their limited resources. Like they only have so many runs in them with Mayfly Flame Out. So again, this is 3 credits. They don't want to take the tag. Plus another 9. Wait, what? Shouldn't it be 11? Oh, 2 from the credit pool. Okay. Yeah. That's a Hydra. Just a Hydra. All right, so that's 14. That's another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the Thoth fires. And they take a net damage and lose 1 credit? Fire all subroutines? Wait, are you serious? Sick. They didn't want to break that. And again, because they're not tagged because they paid 3 on this thing, which is, you know, generally 3 credits is what it takes to clear tag anyways, because you spent a click and 2. They didn't actually take a 3 net damage from this. We're down on 5 though. That was a pretty big hit that we only spend 5 for this thing. And they use their flame out and they use their second Mayfly, but they do have 2 simul chips and they're not pulling it back in right now. All right, so NGO front, I think we can just install advance the QPM. The problem is like we actually we're not like that interested to score the QPM because the QPM is in no way can help us win the game because all the other gens in our deck are 3-pointers, right? Thimble Rig, is that annoying? It lets us fix positionality, which is cute. But as soon as we put it in front of the data ward, it looks really silly. QPM can be EOI food though. Oh yeah, you're right about that. You are 100% right about that. I thought I was being clever. Yeah, you're right. Then we exchange this for a 3-pointer. No, yeah, that's totally correct. And it's very safe there. It's not something I'm excited to score out. So the idea is that when we have this scored, then we have an extra point that we can trade away for an exchange. So we actually can win off exchange. All right, Ngolo. So having multiple code gates in a row is good. I still think Ngolo was going to struggle. Not struggle, but still like expensive to get through most of Rice. Oh, Subliminal 1, Subliminal 2? You spoil us. I wish we had something to do this last click, so I'm going to draw once. Oh, that's actually good, but awkward. So what else can we do? Can we put a card on the table? Can we Salam's their hand? So what do we have here? We have FTP. This is Data Ward into Hydra, which is 16 credits, which we don't have. So I think we just res the Data Ward. And that's probably good enough. I'm not that worried about HQ. I don't want to put something in front of the IP block because the IP block is so much better with the Acme ability. So I think we're just going to gain a credit. In theory, we could have made a new remote server. It just feels a bit silly. So we'll get rid of the Thimble Rig. We'll get rid of the Subliminal for sure. And I think Data Ward is almost always more taxing, but the problem is like 2 Data Wards in a row doesn't do that much. In fact, it does nothing. So maybe we'll just call it a day there. I might be wrong. I feel like we could probably have Embolus in this deck and maybe save 8 influence. Oh, that's a legwork. That's fine. So whereas the IP block, for some reason, this is not an AI, but still it's really expensive to get through IP block. It's 2 to paint, 2 to boost, and then 2 to break. So it's 6 for an ice res for 2. Because they can't really trace through it. They could install a paperclip, but then it's 7. But at least from then on it'll be okay. And I guess 7's how they want to deal with Data Ward anyway. So they probably pull their paperclip out here. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, Ngolo through an IP block feels so good for you. And if they trash the Rashida, will be upset. Oh, they're actually going to do it. And then they just trash this. So they technically save money as long as they spend more than 4 breaking it, I guess. Okay, so we just don't hit the Rashida. Toll Booth, Rashida. Fuck. And they actually probably drop a ball up here. Spec work. Okay, cool. So the paperclip went down for more value. Sure gamble, and there's a Harbinger. Okay. So they got the 1 card we wanted. Oh, I forgot about their ability. Our money is not great. All right, they didn't install anything. Their hand might just be all events. Might just be all events here. 18 credits is a lot of credits. And I'm okay if they steal this. Actually, the thing that I'd be most upset about is if they bring down our Anoetic. I'd rather lose the agenda than lose the Anoetic. Now with 11, in theory, we can throw our whole hand away and Thoth, but then we basically have a send a message and no money. So next turn we double advance this. Hope we'll probably get the Subliminal back so we can keep 1 Subliminal. Could have Flameout number 3. Yeah, Flameout number 3 is a possibility. They might even have 2 Pantographs. Oh, it's Rashida. Thanks, Rashida. think we just click for a credit here and throw out the subliminal. Do we want this? No, we don't need this as padding. We have a full hand, I guess. All right, now they have 30 credits, right? Because they can just sit back and gain 5 credits at the start of every turn. It's a DZMZ. This does look like Hushuk. I think it's a Hushuk deck. Because we're at already 5 2s. So we want a Chrysium here on R&D eventually. Honestly, I think we give them to send a message. Naked install Rashida. I don't love naked install Rashida because if they break their proverbial back doing this, we just jam the Rashida next turn. Playing subliminals that clicking for credit is more mouse clicking efficient. That's true. But then they don't know what this card in archives is, and I think that's actually valuable. Yeah, so there was a different second overclock. This deck is definitely running 3 overclocks. Makes a lot of sense. Oh, excuse me. So they're using Ngolo, so it's 2 to paint. It's 2 to boost. Okay, it's not too bad. Now this one, they actually have to take a tag and lose a credit for 7 credits. I feel like we don't res this, and we just use our money on Anoetic. I don't think we res this. Void is still good here. It is. The problem is if we res the Thoth, right? Then like we're in a really bad spot. Like if we res the Thoth, they basically tank it for a tag and a net damage. But then if we do the Anoetic, ooh, then the Thoth has 2 net damage and 2 credits. I feel like it might just be more relevant to just to hit the Anoetic here. The tag could be relevant. Yeah, the tag could be relevant. I just don't want to go down to no money again. Because then like we get Hushuk right here. Like I think we just do the Anoetic. Yeah, the Thoth is just not good enough. If we had more money, yeah. If we had infinite money, sure. But like if we res this and then have to play Anoetic twice, like we can't score the agenda out. Yeah, so we'll get one of these. And I honestly don't know if this album's going to be relevant. It's really good against Hushuk. They might be on a Levy AR whatever. A Harmony AR Therapy. I just don't see what we'll do with the Toll Booth. Yeah, I'm going to keep it because it's cute. You can't get through Hydra again? Yeah, because of the Ngolo, they're going to struggle to deal with the Hydra the second time. So, because this only lets you paint 1 ice per turn. So unless they like simul-chip back their Ngolo down, which is technically a play, right? Like you trash the simul-chip to reinstall the same Ngolo, or you trash the Ngolo to simul-chip the same Ngolo down, then they could do it again. But again, this server is quite expensive. They started on 30 credits and they played an overclock, and now they're down to 14. So, yeah. Oh, don't worry, we'll score this and res the Thoth. No, we'll probably res the Hydra. Oh, they're going back. Okay. Cool. Are they just letting this fire? Because that would be sick. Like resing Thoth that they can run 3 times. Land this exchange. Yeah, no, if they start doing it aggressively, they're doing it. They're simul-chipping for the Ngolo. But with what money? Oh, they're going to put it on the Flameout? Because it just trashes it. Oh, that's really cool. The big play is to res Thoth that they can get through the second time later and let them score the last 3 for you. Yeah, I know. I think we would give them a tag if we can. There's actually a chance that we can give them the Thoth tag here because if they can clear the tag and trash the Anoetic. No, that's cool. Do you mind if I take a tag? Go ahead. Go ahead. Now the Thoth is even more powerful. Yeah, it looks like the exchange is going to land, which is exactly what we want. Like, we'll be able to res our ice. Maybe. Yeah, this might be okay for us. So flame out to paint. Still have a lot of money. Yeah, that's free. Dang. They broke this for 2 credits. They might just give us 5 credits here. Are they going to give us 5 credits here? It looks like they might just give us 5 credits here. Yeah, because they want to keep the Bologna money. Oh, wow. That makes this really easy. And if they break down to Bologna money and then the Thoth tag actually matters, oh, this is sick. We got away with so much here. Oh, now we can res this happily. And now if this trace fires, they don't have Bologna money. So they, no matter, obviously the Bologna doesn't matter, but fire and broken subroutines, okay. So it's 2 net damage. I don't think we care about that much. And lose 2 credits. Lose 2 credits? This is not worth spending money for. Okay. So they lost Misdirection and Stargate. Okay, sometimes getting Stargate in the bin is actually better because of Simul Chip. It would matter more if they didn't have Anoetic money, yeah. So now I think we Anoetic again, and then we just exchange and score that out next turn. I don't think we give, oh no, we give this to them because of the exchange. Never mind, don't listen to me. I just wish they couldn't trash the Anoetic. No. Yeah, I know, Salmer, yeah, we have to give them this agenda, which obviously is really good for us. They're probably kicking themselves. Well, if that was a Bologna, obviously that would be like okay for us. I think we'll res the Hydra because it's more expensive. And then next turn we just do exchange and then Rashida and even trash a pawn shop. So they drew. Okay. So we'll do Rashida in server 1. They're reinstalling their Ngolo. We'll do that in server 1. We'll exchange. We'll trade the 15 minutes for that. And then we'll trash their pawns up. All right. If we had 1 more credit, we'd have the data ward, but they are in a bad spot now. We are technically on game point. And they still need to score probably a Bologna and a bit. Well, once we shuffle this back, a bit more as well. Now we're down 1 spin. And they're removing the 2 tags. So they're on 0 credits, which obviously is not good. Oh, thank you, Subliminals. You're so kind. Subliminals have been really good. All right. Oh, wow. Disgusting. 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 So we'll hit this. I think we just do install advanced events. There's no way they can get in here and have 5 credits, he says confidently. I don't think we need the Anoetic. Because they have to get through all of this and still have 5 credits on the Bologna. I just don't see that happening when they start with 5 credits on 3 clicks. They might try HQ here, but if we drew an agenda, we jam it, so we'd have to draw 2 agendas, and still, they need to like respect Bolognas. This is so expensive. Now, they can let some of these fire. Like, that's a problem with Thoth. It doesn't do much. If they have the last overclock and they can do it, there's a chance that they can just let this fire. Like, this doesn't end the run. It doesn't end the... No, it does end the run. Never mind. Wow, maybe they can get it. If they can't get it, that's actually pretty bad. But I felt like this seemed pretty good. This seemed good. Clicking for a credit. They have the overclock. Do they have the math? Can they do it? I didn't do the math. I really hope Sengren did. I think they might be banking that this isn't the Bologna, or they just didn't do the math. Now the tag on here is a bit more interesting. It means the 3 net damage matters. So they're taking the tag. Okay, so the Thoth is going to be a bit more important. And actually we can boost into the Thoth trace to make sure that they don't have 5 credits if it comes to it. Cole, how's it going? Glad I finally caught one of these lives. Love your content. Yo, cheers. That's really kind. Glad you can make it. We're playing the deck list of the week right now. All right, Hail Hydra. 10, 6 strength, 3 subroutines. They have to deal with Ngolo. They still haven't found a killer yet. So that's going to be expensive. Again, not too bad with Ngolo. You paint, boost, and then kick as many subroutines as you think are necessary. I think we actually can make the Thoth relevant because we... Well, no, it's almost... There's no way that they're not going to break this. You have to. And I think they have to spend more than 3 credits. Minimum to get through is 12 plus 5. They have 14 to spend. Okay, so they're short just a bit. Oh, sorry. Sorry. That was on me. I think it's new. I don't know. It feels new. Break all 3 subroutines? Okay. All right, so they're getting around the Thoth. So the Thoth can't take your money. if you don't have money. If this was lose credits and we gained credits, I'd be in. It's a Beth and SMC. They have no money. Now, could they don't have a simul chip for imp or anything, so no, we're going to have this. They were basically just hoping that it was to send a message. Wonder if they more than one copy of a killer. Sometimes they just have an Ika. I think Ika makes sense. Hey, GG. Man, I wonder, do you have a killer? When is Some Kind Soul going to make an icebreaker math app for us? There actually is. There's a lot of spreadsheets people make. You can find them online where people will list all the ice and then like the break cost for each icebreaker. Yeah, I don't think it was. Yeah, Ika makes a lot of sense because you can like free install it. You can actually pawn it. But the idea is like you have to install Ika and then on top of a Hydra, and that's not generally cheaper. Like Ngolo actually deals with Hydra really well as long as you can have to do it once a turn. No Hushek. No Hushek? I don't know how to spell Hushek. Because we did see a Stargate. Just Stargate. Cool. Alright. But this glacier just is disgusting. It's real gross, y'all. I don't know what to do. It's really gross. Like, I don't know who can deal with this into an anoetic. Like, we saw how good Lucky Charm was. And I think Lucky Charm is just a very strong card that doesn't see a lot of play, let alone in the startup format. Oh my god, it's good. Yeah. Oh yeah. If they got an early Paul up, it would have been different. I wouldn't respect the Paul up. So they have one Paul up in there. I don't know Woo well, but that makes sense. Yeah, no, it's you can also pull it with Woo, I guess, because you're not that worried if it gets trashed. But a lot of times, like, people don't use Woo's ability offside, like, turn 1, or, like, if things are really bad. And immediately, you could Woo onto a Flame Out and not worry about it too much. Like, I think maybe they, I think Yasengren, he might have pulled Mayflies, but I didn't pay too much attention. It was entirely clean. I guess Sneak Door Zeta isn't around anymore. Wait, is it not? Is it not? I think if you had used simul chip for SMC, Ika, the second run in the Hydra would have been a little bit better. There's a chance. It also might be in hard too, right? Because if you simul chip into SMC, I think their his MU might have been full. Because he'd have to trash a Rizeki, so maybe. I mean, need to eat a program either way. Oh, did he actually lose the Rizeki back there? Beans. Yeah, MU was full, so because this was lost a bit ago. Yeah, Flameout doesn't care about MU, right? Yeah. Thanks for the game, eh? Sengren, good game. All right. Okay. We played 2 games and it's already 10 o'clock. Actually, that's not too ridiculous. Okay, let's build a deck. I want to build some brain damage. There's just a bit of news actually to go through today. We talked about this at the beginning of the stream. Oh, actually, big bookkeeping possibly for the stream that I probably should have said at the beginning. There is a non-zero chance that next Thursday's stream a week from now won't be happening on the Thursday. If that is the chance, I will be doing a stream on the weekend, maybe Saturday morning, maybe Sunday morning to catch up. It's just something that I won't know whether I have availability on Thursday until like the last minute. So if there's no stream next week, it's normal, I guess. And then we'll do a catch-up stream on the weekend. When on the weekend, can't promise anything, but if you want to follow on YouTube or Twitch, hit the like follow notification icon, you'll know when we go live. And that's probably a good way to know because that's the only way to know. You could also just refresh the page and check every hour. That's sustainable, I guess. In terms of other news, again, we talked about the off the grid, the Midwest Championship that was just run at the Game Center last weekend. This was wild. I think it's actually one of the biggest Netrunner tournaments in person that's happened for a while. And there's a lot of like really strong Netrunner players. A lot of players also used to play competitively back in the day who were just saying, let's come down and try the game out and like play with photocopies and get into the game because it's like really easy to get into now. It was I think that's relatively diverse enough meta considering what we've seen in Continentals. That's pretty representative, but you can watch all the games on twitch.tv/San Francisco. This is all streamed and you see top tables. There's 2 days as well. Like it's Swiss and then Top Cut. So check that stuff out. I saw some fun photos too of like Crokinole in on the front lawn because they didn't open the store at the right time, which was scheduled. So good stuff. Yo, Solomir, hey, hopefully you're doing okay, eh? But enjoy the rest of the evening. I think the other news I want to talk about is that Fantasy Flight Games had their in-flight report during Gen Con, which apparently is right now. Is Gen Con happening in person? I don't actually know. And they announced a bunch of things. One thing that was really weird that was announced last week is that Keyforge is on hiatus because the algorithm is broken. It's at 50% capacity. Oh, interesting. And I don't know if you saw the post about this, and this is like such an interesting talking point, but if you don't know what Keyforge is, it is a unique deck building game made also by Richard Garfield, just like Netrunner. And the idea is that when you buy a Keyforge deck, it is a unique deck that you buy that is put together by an algorithm somewhere. It gives it its own awful randomly generated name, and then it has cards from it from 3 factions that should have some synergy. But you don't know what you're going to get in the deck, but nobody else in the world is going to have the same deck. And that's the idea. There's no deck building. You just take that deck to a tournament. But they announced that like this is the new set. It's called Winds of Exchange, but it's on hiatus because unfortunately the algorithm to make Keyforge is busted. They just said that it is damaged and they have to repair it. They also announced a digital implementation of Keyforge that will be coming when this is coming back, which is pretty exciting for the Keyforge crowd, I have no doubt. Anywho, that's really weird. On top of that, there was a Reddit post like the day before. Someone says Keyforge is dead. I was told from somebody who worked at FFG that they lost the algorithm when somebody was laid off. And then somebody also from FFG posted on Facebook saying like, hey, I'm a designer or a dev on the game. I want to say that nothing was lost in a layoff, but our data set was compromised or damaged and we have to restart. Either way, that's such a weird thing to hear from a board game, that there was like damage to data and then they can't make the game no more. So I hope they get that spun up. It's like super wild, especially because this game I have no doubt has been really suffering, because while there are ways to play Keyforge online, I have no doubt a lot of Keyforge is outside of like casual tabletop play, like really matters that you go to a weekly meetup to jam your new decks. So I have no doubt that Keyforge has been in a weird spot over the pandemic. So that's not the best news to hear coming back, but they're definitely on it, which is interesting. It's such a weird story. Arkham announced a new standalone expansion scenario that goes through time travel, which is great. But I think this is one of the biggest things, and I've been so stoked about this. And this actually might be out as soon as next week in Canada. But the Arkham Horror used to be released the same way Netrunner did, where every month you get a pack. But the difference with Arkham Horror is that the packs are chapters in a scenario. So you had to go and wait 6 months for you to get the entire story, 7 months sometimes, right? To get the entire story to play through everything. And the newest set that just came out is coming out in 1 or technically 2 big boxes, one with all the player cards in it, one with all the scenario cards in it, which is so cool and so much easier for people. It's cheaper, it's easier for shelf space and for shipping. There's a lot of good reasons. And they have announced officially that the old cycles are going to be reprinted in the exact same format. And it's such a bummer to recommend Arkham because getting some of the old cycles is really hard, because when you need to pick up 7 separate products that were released years ago and you're just missing one of them, technically it's semi unplayable because you can't complete the narrative. So having an onboarding that is better, that you can just buy 1 box in 2022 is so much better. I don't know what it's going to do to the like content that's already on people's shelves, whether they're like the old data packs or what are they called, campaign packs are going to be useless, but this is such a big change for the game because now I can very easily recommend someone to pick up the Dunwich Legacy. The rebooting of Lord of the Rings CCG, there's a new core set from my understanding, or the LCG, excuse me. I'm not too familiar with Lord of the Rings LCG. It's cooperative, like Arkham, which I hear is great. Marvel Champions. And the thing that I really want to say, besides the fact that like this is Sinister Six was like my Spider-Man when I was a kid. This actually seems really interesting to me. I think the one thing I did want to mention why we're bringing this up is they announced that they're doing some graphic novels. And specifically, you might recognize some of these characters here. They're doing Android graphic novels. Let's see. We're working with Command on a graphic novel series that take place in the Android universe. The work is being handled by its own all-star cast with Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing from Joyride, Batman and Robin Eternal doing the writing, and Guillermo Balbi from Spartacus and Superboy doing the art. All 3 series, Android and both Twilight Imperium, are being edited by comic book industry veteran David Hedgecock from Transformers and TMNT. So you might recognize some of these places, let alone some of these characters. That does look like Chaos Theory, if I'm not mistaken. That is definitely a Dinosaurus. Art looks sharp, but if you want to play and see reality and see like some of the worlds of Android from back in the day of FFG's Netrunner, this is definitely really cool. I think everyone's like been really interesting to see what FFG is trying to do with Android, because since they've basically stopped doing Netrunner, there hasn't been much. I think they did a bit of like an RPG thing, but I don't think that really popped off. But yeah, that's cool that they're actually using the world and the IP that I think a lot of people really care about. I think the revised core box is coming out next month. Oh, for LCG, for Lord of the Rings. If that's the case for Lord of the Rings, I will pick one up because I've heard good stuff, but it's really hard to get this. Just waiting on the Antarctica boxes. Ouroboros got the wit this time. Sorry, what do you mean Norbord? For Arkham or for the new Nisei stuff? Scenarios will still be valid. They're just modifying Reline to stream. Oh yeah, Norbert, I realized that the new scenarios are valid. It's the same stuff in this boxes, but like, is a store going to have this box next to like 2 data packs? Like, it's going to be confusing. And I have no doubt that this will become the hot item. And then the other data packs that like are only good if you bought 6 other stuff, unless you want player cards, are going to become next to useless. Rebooting LOTR is awesome. Such a great game, kind of held down by old mechanics, but how are they going to handle the fact that they released some meal expansions? I have no idea, Lindsay. I know very little about this game, but I know it's been around forever and it's still supported. So I don't know whether it's fully compatible. I don't know whether it's going to have errated cards. I honestly, I need to look into this because I've never touched this game, besides the fact that I know the similar mechanics to Arkham. Europeans will get the Antarctica box a month before us. They already have it, Norbert. They actually already have the box. They say Canada might have it next week, but the UK has the edge of the whatever it's called, the new Arkham box. They already have one. Have them. They have boxes are had. Let's build a deck. With LOTR, they said not all cycles will get big. Oh, with Lord of the Rings, they're doing the same thing and they're putting everything in a box? That's cool. How's it going, by the way, Cactus? I'm waiting for the new Magic stuff with Midnight Hunt. That releases next week, right? There's a new set coming out for Flesh and Blood next week as well. I'm going to 2 pre-releases this weekend. I'm like really stoked. I've never gone to a pre-release. And I'm just like, I got really into Flesh and Blood and I'm really excited for the new set. And it looks like a really good set to do sealed because it's highly modular. I don't know. I'm stoked. I won my Blitz on my Armory last night, so I'm kind of a big deal. Let's play an HP brain damage deck. I honestly don't know what we're going to start as. I feel like a lot of times if we're playing like really weird garbage, if we're going to call it that, I find myself always gravitating to Acid Group because I love playing upgrades. I love playing weird stuff like Quindakalu, and this lets you do all that stuff and keep tempo, which is really nice. They can do like Quindakalu Ice and then also still play fully operational, which is good. Explaining Arkham to news was already tough without 2 distribution models, but is the best LCG of all time. So yeah, I think it's going to be a lot easier now. You just say like, oh, if you want to experience a story, you pick up, if you want, the characters and the player cards, but otherwise you can just pick up the campaign box. And that's so much easier. And not to be like, okay, well, first you need the deluxe expansion and then you need the following 6 scenario packs, which again, I'm still missing a scenario pack from the fish cycle. I still don't have it. And I don't know what to do. I'm at a really awkward point where like I pre-ordered it from my FLGS, but they haven't got one. They only received French shipments and they haven't got any of the new other shipments. And so I don't know, like I kind of have to go to them and be like, hey, it's been a couple months. Should I just go get this somewhere else and cancel my pre-order? Cause like we're waiting to end this thing. Still missing 2 from Innsmouth. Yeah. Which ones? I'm missing Maelstrom still. I can't finish the campaign. Well, I borrowed someone's to do it, but like it's annoying. Always pronounce it as ASA group. It's not. It's actually one word. It's just like Mati. There's no periods. It's Asa. Asa. Final 2. Yeah, the final 2 were really hard to find in America. Maelstrom, like, is Maelstrom. It's still really hard to find here. Yo, Julianne, been a while. Do you know if there's any in-person Netrunner events coming soon? Yo, how's it going, man? Not that I know of. I know specifically Pat has been asking around to be like, hey, who would be interested in doing an in-person Netrunner tournament or event following like, you know, basic rules for, you know, safety and all that sort of stuff. But I think the biggest thing that we're running into right now is finding a location is really difficult. Because Netrunner specifically is not like a product that will make money to a store. So you basically have to find a store that's willing to have people in there that maybe spend some money but take up space. So you have to do it on a non-busy day, which can be difficult, especially because space is at a limit. It's like restricted right now, right? Because their capacities are usually halved. So they just don't have as much table space as they used to. So I think that's kind of tricky. I don't know what it's going to take to get that running up, but people are looking into it. I think it's just still kind of difficult right now. But Julianne, it'd be a real treat if we could do it. Was there always rough costs for the Arkham Horror? Sorry, was there a rough cost for the Arkham new set? The costs are fully published. They're like 120 altogether Canadian. It's technically cheaper than buying everything separate. They're just revised core and some release cycles. I'm happy with that. Oh, sick. Okay. Innsmouth campaign was really good. Only campaign I've beaten except Dunwich. Nice. I really did enjoy the Innsmouth campaign. I'm doing well. How old are you? I'm 30. How old are you? $30 to $35 for the investigators and player cards. $30 to $35 for the scenarios. In American? No. What? That's super cheap. Okay, well, you can just check their website, right? Right, if you go to the website and you go to products, like it'll tell you the cost. I'm pretty sure it's about 120 Canadian and it is cheaper. So like, okay, so check this out. You go to Edge of the Earth. It's 40 American for the investigators and 60 American for the actual campaign box. So together that's cheaper. That is actually a fair bit cheaper because otherwise 40 plus 60. So that's roughly 100 US. So like 120 Canadian, 130 Canadian. But if you do all the Innsmouth campaign, you need this for 30 plus 15 plus 15. So that's 30, 60, so 90. So it's technically $10 cheaper. Not a big amount, but it's cheaper. So about $100 American before tax. Yeah. I think Miniature Market has the whole cycle in stock. They got a refresh recently. Oh, okay, cool. Drunk apparently off. Yeah, I want to try and see if I can find it locally, but it's been very difficult. I think all the Canadian stores I've checked are out of Maelstrom. And I will buy it all. Dungeon I already have. I've already pre-ordered all of it from my FLGS. 2 copies, in fact, because me and my sister's fiance down the street, we both play. It's great. When is some kind of soul going to make us an LCG price math app? Do you need one? There's not a lot of options there, right? One thing that is cool. Okay, I don't know if y'all know about this. This is, I think, mostly Canadian. I think this is mostly a Canadian thing, but Board Game Oracle is a website in which basically you can search a game and it'll tell you which stores have it in stock for which price. Now, I say this admittedly, like, do check out your local game stores and support them. Even if the price is a bit higher, it's for the best that you support your local store. My local store is the Dice Owl, which they rock. They're really, really good. And they stock things pretty well. They have a great online store. They have a very small store because they used to only be like an online store, but anyways, they have a lot of stuff. They're great, but you can check out here if you're in Canada and search. I think maybe it's not only just Canada, but I thought this was a Canadian thing. So if you want to find like Maelstrom, I think it's going to be like eBay only. It has US stores. Okay, it does US stores. Excuse me. I thought this was Canadian for some reason. Yeah, that looks very American. But yeah, you can see who has it in stock. But again, do kindly support your local game stores. They definitely need it. I reckon it's been a bit difficult over the last year, especially if they're like, you know, they offer services and you know, a place to hang out. So do what as you will. Where were we? No? Yes. It has a great site. When you paid 15 plus tax for every scenario and 30 for the big box, it was a lot of coin. Yeah, no, that game is expensive. I think maybe that was a thing going for it, is that you bought one a month, so it didn't feel that bad up front. Having to drop $100 at once, maybe that's worse for some people. I believe it. But I also don't know if it's gonna be worse, but we're gonna be waiting longer between content, right? Like that was kind of one of the cool things sort of about the old format, is that like every month there'd be conversations about the new cards, and I feel like we're gonna get like 100 player cards at once, and then people are gonna be overwhelmed and there's not gonna be that much conversation. Been playing any board game lately? Pouch. I have a really good board game, actually. A board game store having a great website really is awesome. My local store I love, but their website sucks. Yeah, no, that's really good. There's other great Canadian stores that have great websites. Board Game Bliss is amazing. 401 Games is great, but the Dice Owl is my favorite. Ludmilla, hey, I've not been in pop in live in a while. It's good to catch the stream. I hope you're well. I am doing pretty good. How are you doing? Glad you can make it. I'm stumbling over my words. I wanted to show you this game. Okay, so we'll get to the deck. But everyone knows what Codenames is, right? Everybody loves Codenames, and I get it. But I'll be honest, I don't think Codenames is that great. And I think the biggest problem with Codenames, and let me know if this is wrong, is that somebody sits there for 5 minutes in silence while everybody waits for them to make a good clue. And for a party game that's not meant to be stressful, that's meant to be fun, and the action keeps going, the idea that you're just waiting there while someone's like, okay, I could do that, and just waiting while they do nothing is honestly not great. I've played Codenames. I own Codenames. I enjoy Codenames. I understand it's been a big hit. Flata Schvatil, but I feel like we found something that's a bit better. 5 minutes of silence is to drink. Tempo's pretty bad. Yeah, the tempo's like remarkably bad for a game, for a party game. So my sister was in Vancouver, and they stopped by a board game store because it's raining, as it does in Vancouver, and they just found this one called Cross Clues. And this game came out a while ago. I haven't heard about it, but oh my god, I think it just destroys Codenames. And the basic premise is you set down an array. You make this array. You go A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can go up to E and 5 if you want to. I'd recommend it. And then you have these cards that have 2 words on them, right? So you put them underneath the numbers. So basically every time you build a board, it'll be different. So here we have letter, bear, mushroom, mean, and then we have disgust, dessert, diamond, earth, okay? Now, when you start the game, all these spaces in the middle with the numbered spaces are all different. A1, A2, sorry, no, they're all different. They're all gone. And all these cards are shuffled into this deck. So basically you have an empty array where A1 would be the marriage between letter and disgust. Then all you do, everyone draws a card off the top of this deck and secretly holds it to them. And then you start the 5-minute sand timer. And all you do is basically like Codenames, sort of, is you have to say one word, or maybe you want to do a hyphenated word, whatever you want to do, and basically get people to guess which cross section you have, which coordinate you have. So if we had like dessert mushroom, maybe you would think for a while and say something like, I don't know, truffle, and then hope someone doesn't think you have disgust mushroom. Like it's so much more fun because everyone's playing, because you're timed, anyone can guess, and once somebody says something, everyone has to come to a consensus because it's a cooperative game. And then if they're correct, you mark that space, and then you draw a new card, and anyone can jump in wherever they want. The games are 5 minutes. It's so exciting because you're not under pressure to say anything. You can take a while to play, to do your clue while also playing with other people and guessing. And they're really tricky. They're hard. Like, how do you guess diamond mushroom? Like, what's a good clue for that? Maybe you have it and you think, I'm going to wait until some of these other spaces have disappeared. This is so good. We played it. It takes 5 minutes, and I was immediately go up to E, add 5, and then we play like 3-4 rounds in a row. I'm like, we got to still play it. It is so good. I haven't heard anyone talk about this. I think it's way better than Codenames. I think it's so much more approachable. The rules explanation is literally 30 seconds, and everyone wants to be involved. But there's no time to drink. Yeah, between 5 minutes. But it's lovely, and it's infinitely replayable because the combinations of words. You have a huge stack of words. 10 out of 10. I ordered one immediately the night we played it. I'm excited for it to come in, and I'm going to show just about anybody this game because I think it makes Codenames look real bad, which obviously Codenames is a thing. So does it scale up in player count? I don't know actually what the recommended player count is because I've never read the rules. Let's see what the box says. 2 to 6, 7 and up is the age. So kind of, you can scale it to your difficulty. So for instance, when we played 1 to 5, A to E, we'd actually get 2 turns of the sand timer. So, and then basically it's a score based game. Because once you're done, you'd be like, okay, we got 15 out of the 20, or that's not possible. We got 12 out of the 16, and then kind of like Hanabi would be like, that's a good score. Or like, everyone forgets your firework display. Wavelength symbol good? Yeah, Doomster. I know Wavelength is also really quite good. And this is a similar game that's really easy to play on Zoom or what have you. Yeah, huge. I think it's great. So good. I've never heard of this before. I'm doing well enough, still very much living the pandemic life. Bummer. I moved back in with my folks right at the start of the pandemic because I got hurt at work, and one works in a hospital and the other is a teacher. So I've just been staying at home in case I'm exposed by one of them. Lots of video game time though. I've been playing Deathloop, which owns. Yo, Linmilla, hopefully you're doing okay. I am waiting to play Deathloop because I'd have to play it on PC. And I'm aware that it has a bit of a problem with de novo, and I don't have the strongest PC, so it's not going to run really well. So I think I'm going to wait a bit before picking it up, but it is my jam. Arcane makes really good stuff. Scorpion Mask, a publisher, also has more engaging games. I think Scorpion Mask is from Montreal or from Quebec, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, this game's great. Stream sponsored by Classics. No, this game is really good. I'm like really stoked to play this game anytime I can. I consider Codenames a 6-player game minimum, so probably no overlap for me. Yeah. Paranormal Detectives, is that the one where you draw on people's backs and stuff, Linty? Because Paranormal Detectives is something also my sister and her fiance got for I think a birthday present, and we played it over Christmas holidays, and it slapped. Is that the one I think it is? Because that was the one where basically it's a seance. Yeah, that's the one. And like you're trying to, it is, okay. My only issue with Paranormal Detectives is that somebody has died and you're investigating it, but and they basically paint a scenario. It'd be like, this is the person, this is what happened, this is their cause of death. But some of them were horribly depressing, like just very bad trigger warning. Like some of them are really comical, like as much as dark humor is, but some of the other ones were just like, fuck, this is not fun no more. And so like we had the power to veto those. It was like a really harsh turn between like goofy comedy and like the ghost is drawing your back, and then like, holy shit, this is dark as fuck. Like it was. Yeah. Lumil, my favorite party game is Monikers by like a mile. I own the box Monikers, and I've only played it in the non like box way. Like, you know, anyone can play Monikers with post-it notes, and I haven't played the box version because of the pandemic. I'm really stoked. Yeah, Monikers is great. Monikers is really good. I've never got to the secret rounds of Monikers, but I do want to. Though like the miming stuff and all that. Yeah, Monikers is good. Okay, we're gonna do a brain damage deck. The question was what board games I've been playing. Been playing that. I'm all over the place. Been playing Cascadia, which I actually like a fair bit more than excuse me. I like it a fair bit more than Calico. It's by the same people. It is by the same people. It is quite nice. Instead of Calico, where you basically, it's a tile-laying puzzle game where you're trying to make the best score by making the nicest quilt so the most cats lay on it, which honestly is like a very compelling theme. Cascadia is you making nature, but instead of your options getting squeezed in, you build out because you're building this nature. You're building wildlife on top of an environment, and I find it way more relaxing because there's like a massive amount of like, I could call it ludonarrative dissonance, but there's like this dissonance when you're playing Calico, which seems like it'd be the sweetest, nicest game, but then you're stressed as all heck because you've painted yourself in a corner and then you're like accidentally broke your patterns. Yeah, Calico's pouch is oddly brainy. It is like oddly stressful for the theme. And I like Cascadia a fair bit better. We also played Chinatown last week. We are playing, we played a bunch of the crew, I think 2 weeks ago. We played Great Western Trail, which is, the second edition is just out. But we have the slightly offensive first edition still. Maybe slightly is painting it kindly. Yeah, but that game is really good. All those games I said were really good. I pre-ordered that. Additional 6 Nymph and the new crew. Yeah, I haven't got the new crew. 6 Nymph is also, it slaps. It's really good. It is really quite good. Okay, wait. I want to do a better search to find the brain damage cards. I think there's actually some cards with symbols they can remove if you want the game to be family friendly. Okay, Linty, I did not know that. That is good. Because, yeah, Whiplash was huge on that game. Chinatown was good. Love teaching that. Oh, man, Dupes, there's just, like, no teaching to it. You're just, like, figure it out. Just here's your money. What are the rules? There are none, but the year will be over. It's Chinatown is a game in which there's a map of properties and you're given certain lots, and then you're given like a handful of industry of shops you can put down, and then at the end of every year, the shops that are placed on the table pay out based off of how many similar shops are next to it that you own. And it's just a game where the rules are just figure out how to make more money. So it's all about trading. It'd be like, hey, I'll trade you lot 12 for lot 36, but you give me $20,000 and your fish. And it's wild. It is. There's nothing else. Well, there's probably actually a bunch of other stuff like it, but it's there's nothing else I own like it. Cascadia seems super neat, but I've never had an opportunity to play it. I think you can play it on BG Arena, if I'm not mistaken. I'm still on my BS getting people to play Scythe. I have not played Scythe. Ludonarrative dissonance has always been a thing in board games. They're just called Euro games. Recently got Intrepid from a Kickstarter and it was awesome. It's a co-op dice placement game where you're astronauts living on the space station. That's the one with like the kind of minimalist box art, right? Like with the rocket on it? No, not at all. What am I thinking of? I do not know what this is. Wow, that is an intimidating board. Whoa, that's intimidating. Cool. Is it good? I haven't heard of that one. I was thinking of something else. Okay, wait, stop. Okay, we're meant to find a brain damage deck. But how do you search? I think I did it wrong because we need to search by cards from the fourth rotation. Here we go. Seabass is really good. Scythe is essentially a meeple movement resource engine game, but with combat system with hidden numbers on cards. Z Current. Yeah, okay. Z Current works as well. That's cool. Scythe is great too. Scythe has obviously been like a thing for a really long time. And I just haven't gotten into it because I don't know. It's been pretty hyped. My expectations are way too high. There's only 17 cards with the word brain on it in modern format. Maybe that's actually a lot. So we want to build a brain damage deck that's not just like a cerebral override or trap deck. maybe we should probably have Cerebral Overrider in it anyways. So the idea is that we want to kill people through having enough brain damage. And unfortunately, there's a bunch of brain damage cards that we can't play, but we also have access to combos with things like Ganked, which is always really powerful. We have Kalu, which we have to protect, which is pretty difficult. This card is economically unviable. And then we have a bunch of like really middle of the road ice. But next diamond into Ganked is generally pretty good. And I guess we have to play next wave too. Oh god, I don't want to play next wave too. Quinda. We've actually got lethals with Quinda before, which is really fun. Because the thing with Quinda is like sometimes if they have little money, you just resist and then they just take a brain damage if you can just boost into it, which, you know, is technically not the optimal way to do it, but it's pretty fun. We also have riot suppression, which is like really hard to play because you have to make both options really bad for the runner. And maybe you just do install advance and then play riot suppression and hope for the best. Brainstorm is definitely still a thing, and we still have Ganked as well, so it's gonna be hard. I played Innis for the first time recently. It's the third in Cyclades Comet, and it's such an interesting and chill dudes on the map game. So good. Yo, Linty, actually, man, we're getting sidetracked really hard, but Pat actually taught Maddie, me, and my brother Innis like last weekend or something like that on Tabletop Simulator. And I don't think I liked it that much just because we lost because we didn't realize someone else was winning, which felt weird. But I feel like the drafting system is really clever. I think the drafting system is really cool. But like I own Comet. I haven't tried it yet, the new Comet. But like the idea that I have to do something terrible to my friend to make me win is kind of hard. Like I haven't played a lot of games like that where it's like I have to aggress on my friend to make them lose to make me win. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not cut out for it. I think we want to play Tempest. Tempest is interesting. Trace 3 again. If you imagine that your Tempests are snares and you pay 4 credits, that's Trace 7. And Trace 7 will often go through, not always, but often. And if they can't lose 2 clicks, they have to take the brain damage. Not amazing, but it is technically a brain damage ambush, and there's never been anything like that, which is really cool. In theory, also, if you put it on the remote with your cards, the other cards, like if they're clicking through stuff, if they're running it later in the turn, if you fire Managarm Skunkworks, like there's a chance that they don't have 2 clicks. And if they pay for Managarm, this Trace 3 gets a lot easier. This is wonderful, but excels at breaking friendships. Yeah, that's kind of what I mean, right? Like, I don't think I'm cut out for that sort of thing. And that's all the brain damage cards, and a couple of them are rotated. I think only one is, right? Or banned. That's Kill Switch, which is a bummer, because I think this is the best brain damage card. Our worst experience was getting tricked into playing a Flux-like game, and we'll had a 9 rounds in a row when one player had a valid action. Ugh, yikes. Yeah, I know. Flux is Flux. Flux is not to be taken seriously. Right, suppression has the Punisher card problem for Magic. Yep, there's so many of these cards that give choices that are as bad as the worst choice. You know what I mean? I think getting a ton of money and keeping the runner broke and then using Quinda for 1 turn only is by far the best way to use it. Get money, asset back, and server ASAP. I hear you, but in theory, Quinda like ticks up in value, right? Like eventually it's Trace 4, and it's basically they interact with this or they lose. So let's put all these terrible cards together and make a deck. So I'm going to just make sure that we have our standard collection, which doesn't default to for some reason. We have to start with some some agendas. And I don't think there's any agendas that are like inherently great with our theme besides the next wave 2, which kind of works, I guess. But the problem is like this is not an economic card. And I think the thing that we're going to really struggle with in this deck is economy. So it seems like that also is the same sort of deck that we want to make the game as long as possible. So we're probably going to end up playing 2 global food initiatives. We're probably going to end up playing Off-World Office and then play Illuminal because, well, really, we'd be playing Cyberdeck Sandbox in this slot if we could. Cerebral plus Hangeki. I don't want to do a Cerebral Trap deck because I feel like that isn't a brain damage deck in the way I will think it is. Yeah, I don't know. Is there still hand size reduction legal? No, there's no legal hand size reduction. I don't think there's any hand size reduction. Command is my favorite. The aggression is actually balanced by the abilities in the game. Like someone can make a completely defensive build or purely passive build. Plus you get resources when you lose troops. Command sounds really good. Like I've read the rules and it looks like very aggressive, but also just the tech tree in that game seems really satisfying. Where at the end of the day, like even if my game goes terribly, I felt like I built something like a deck builder and I like that. Tier plus Ganked is doable. I'm worried that tier is going to be too expensive. We definitely do want to be playing Ganked. Let's get some Tempests in here. There's a chance too, and it's not great with this agenda suite, but you could consider playing Wanza. Maybe not amazing, but Ganked is potentially very lethal. We did a stream last week, and oh my god, our last game in that last stream was like so good, like unbelievably good. So we're gonna try and get that back. Quint is eventually traced forward by giving the runner 4 turns to win the game when they struggle to outpace Rizeki. Raketh, I hear you, but then they probably run and trash it because there's inevitability, and that means they're spending money breaking ice. But yeah, no, it's not amazing. So we're winning off killing the runner or punishing their small hand size. I don't know, Gregory. How's it going? Like you could snap snare in here. I don't know if you do, but let's see where it goes. I think if we ganked anything, we gank a brainstorm. Let's get some other ice into this list. And again, we are ASA group, so we can install things on a remote server and keep drawing at the same time. So there's a chance that we do want Tranquility Home Grid. It is a lot of money, and we are going to have a fair bit of upgrades. Managarm as well. Why don't we tweak last week's deck and already have Byroid, Ravana, Ganked, and Infinite Brain Damage? I think Thanos, we're going to largely try and rebuild that, but I think we're going to swing a bit more into the brain damage, which probably actually isn't great. Like we're likely to build a worse deck. But I think the deck we had last week was very capable of killing someone with an infinite brain damage loop. And I think that's the same sort of idea. So we want Ravana. Ravana is actually one of the best cards. In theory, the problem with this is a 3 of is really awkward, but Ravana into Ganked means you can resolve the on-cell subroutine to reinstall the Ganked infinitely, and then just do 1 brain damage, as long as you have a brain damage subroutine to copy. If you do... Well, you do. Hopefully you do. We need to play things like Fairchild 2.0, which is actually a very relevant. It's just good enough piece of ice unless you're playing against Amina. This is quite nice. Now, we want to be playing a lot of Byroids, so I feel like we're actually going to get quite a similar ice composition. And the issues like all the other mid-range Sentry ice or mid-range brain damage ice are not particularly amazing. I won a negative hand size the other day. You just need an opponent to install double stim dealer. And just slow the game down. Like, with this thing we have to play next ice. I don't know. I feel like we're just going to play the same deck as last week. And then just tune it with more traps. Going dark in chat will probably fall asleep to soothing sound bar. Cheers from Virginia. Good luck, Andre. Yo, Norbert, get some rest. Thanks for dropping by. Oh man, I'm torn here. Like, I feel like we're going to just build the deck from last week, but worse. And I obviously don't want to do that. So I feel like we do have to do like Quindikalu and friends. Is there anything else that cares about hand size? Like, do we have to... We don't really have the influence for Urban Renewal, but that's kind of the idea, right? Like Urban Renewal, we need another kill condition. I don't love Urban Renewal. In fact, I really don't like Urban Renewal. But this is the sort of thing that drags you into the remote. The real tech is to play Loki. Yo, what's up, Ian? Night Dancer into the infinite gank Ravana loop. Brain damage is so passe. Infinite clicks are where it's at. Oh my god, yes. I feel like we're just going to slowly become like a ganked channel and just do ganked stuff. Because you can do this infinitely. The runner loses a click if able, even additional click in the next turn. And if you have an unlimited clicks, you win the game on the spot. You win the game on the spot. Oh, Clearinghouse. I actually like the idea of Clearinghouse. Okay, but this is not a Byroid. You can't Ravana this. Brick. Loki doesn't work. Oh, I thought Loki was choosing another Byroid. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. So if this fires, we will have 5 clicks. Good enough. Yeah, Clearinghouse seems okay. This is bad to be clear. No, this is good. Because with infinite clicks, is there any way to do brain damage on their turn? No, it's only it's only what's it called? Riot suppression. That's the only way to do brain damage on their turn. On your turn, excuse me, right? I think that's the only way. Unless they... But if you have infinite clicks, why would they... I don't know, we're trying to rationalize O2 shortage. That seems like it's on us. Yeah. Oh, I don't have high hopes. Okay, well, we made things worse. We're ASA group. I feel like we're just rerouting last week's deck into a kill package. And I'm okay with that. But also, this obviously looks terrible. All right, what are we doing? Clearinghouse? That's 3 influence, I think. Okay, Rashida is a good card. NGO front is playable. Our econ's really light, and I feel like it's a problem. So if we're playing Asa group, what other operations do we want? Fully operational? We want like Maryland's. Like we just want to get remotes. We have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 50. Nice. Okay, so this is technically a legal deck, but we don't have Spin Doctor in it. So it's like a legal bad deck. We want more end the runs. I'd play a Hagen or two. Okay, what's this draw like? Jeeves for our 4-2s? Yeah, Jeeves is actually really good in Asa, right? Jeeves is really quite good. That's the problem is like the Jeeves takes Jeeves takes the slots of the bad cards. If you play his next, you can throw in a single next dice and wave 2 is live turn 1. Well, only if you res the next dice, right? We can't play this card because we don't have next dice. Like we are doing really bad here. We probably can't play this card unless we play next dice. Okay, what's next dice look like? Maybe we should actually just look at the next dice and feel upset. So there's only 3 next dice. So that's good. Technically 4 if you play low key. So this one's good. This one's playable. We talked about earlier today that this might be actually one of the worst dice in the format. But installing 1 ice is actually kind of okay with Asa, or 1 card. This now says you may, so the text is different than this. The text on this was awful. And the next Sapphire is actually not amazing, but is good for a combo deck. Wow, next ice is looking really bad, y'all. I've thought about it, and I think the next ice is just nonsense. It is just, like, it used to be, it started with the fundamentals, and then the fundamentals rotated, and we're just left with, like, absolute salad. Next ice is next time and cheese, and that's it. Yeah, I know. And I feel like this is the sort of deck that wants next time and cheese. I feel like I'd rather play next time and cheese than brainstorm. I'd feel better about next time and cheesing someone. Okay, so this gets cut, which means we just play sandbox, and then everyone's really excited about our new deck. Get some Kojin in here. Kojin's like not worth the influence, nor is it like it's really expensive. Like we can just play a good ice in the suite. There's not like, if we had like one like shining ice, like a tier, then maybe. But even then, I don't know. 2 Ravana for light on roids. We're actually pretty good on biroids. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, including the Ravandas themselves, which don't count. It's not the worst. Yeah, 10 res cost is disgusting. Like I don't want to spend 10, but we're gonna spend 9 on brainstorm. Don't worry, we got this. Are there other good biroids we want to play? Because the thing that I don't like is that we want to awesome, we want to go horizontal fast, is we want to have things to jam behind. So I don't like having too many. The reason why we're valuing the Ravana, which is probably 1 Ravana too many, is because of the infinite combo. Maybe we can go down to 2 because we draw our deck aggressively with fully operational. But like, let's see how bad this is. Okay, so reset. So this is our opening hand. We probably keep this, right? We do. Okay, it's not great. It's honestly pretty bad. So we put this in the remote, put this in front of it. Fully op, why not? Draw 2, gain 2. Hedge fund. We could also not play Asa group and then cut the fully operationals and like go back to Mirror Morph. And I really enjoyed playing Mirror Morph last week, honestly. It was surprisingly great. But I feel like we have a lot of assets. Maybe we shouldn't. Okay, this looks pretty bad. So actually this hand's fine, right? Like we hedge fund. We put Marilyn in a remote, or Rashida in a remote with a brainstorm. And we put a Marilyn naked. And then from there, like maybe we should have put the ganked behind the brainstorm. Honestly, that might have been nicer. We probably win on the spot though. Because people might face check there. We lose that off of R&D. Then we do new remote. We draw 2 with Rashida. I'm just kidding. They trash Rashida. Okay. New hand. Quinn does 3 credits to res. What are they doing? Okay. So we install that. No, we'd probably actually jam the off-world office. This is fine, right? Do we throw NASX because we are so desperate to waste money in large amounts that we need more money to meet more consistency? I don't think we have the money to support NASX. Like the problem is that we just don't have money. Oh, we wanted Jeeves in here. I think Jeeves Wendigon is better than Seamless. Jeeves actually works well with our game plan. Okay. Okay. Oh, fully op. Yeah, Nasix with fully op. Right. I forgot about that interaction. Yeah, okay. Okay. We're now like a trap deck. Like, we seem like a horizontal trap deck, which I'm kind of into. I wish we had a snare or two. Like, I think that's where the magic is. If we cut the clearinghouses and just put snares in. Because if someone hits a snare and then we kill them with Quinda, no, that seems bad. We never cut a ganked. But the idea is that like we can go horizontal and then like have traps in it. Like, I feel like snare might be at home in this list. 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We maybe even can get away with some ice. Here we would install a Fairchild behind a Maryland. We should have drawn first. Credit. Yeah, this is playable. Yeah, this is playable. Okay. I'm going to print screen in case we lose the deck. And we'll just import this. I feel like this is probably not good. I have no doubt it could win a game. You call the deck Old Town Road? I don't know why. Why? That's a song, right? Hello, just finished teaching Netrunner to your friend. How'd it go, Movable? How's it going? Snare's a good card for trigger ride suppression. You got trash snare, right? Oh man, that seems so much more interesting than what we're doing. Ah, brick, I like it. Okay, we are doing Aza group. It's a little Nasx. I get it. I get it now. Okay. Are we just doing gank combos again? Okay, Rash. Just doing gank combos seems like you're selling us a bit short. Are we just trailblazing the future of the format? If you said it like that, we sound really cool. They got a hang of the flow of the game pretty quickly, but missed on every single HQ access. Are you playing gateway stuff or are you playing with the older stuff? Man, I really like ride suppression snare. I really like ride suppression snare more than anything else we're doing. Because this is so good. We have so many trashables. We have so many trashables. We can't afford this. They also trash Tempest, right? Oh, this looks really nice. What the heck is ride suppression? It is a reprisal that says they either take a brain damage or have 3 fewer clicks. You can get a snare by cutting GFA and tossing in Vacheron. I feel like our deck is so slow that the Vacheron actually would be a problem. I think if anything, like I kind of like the idea of having also the other damage. Like Ronin is more influenced, right? Than the one that we just cut, which I can't think of the name of. It's not just doing gank combos. It's, oh boy, ganked combos, poggers. That's actually very accurate. Clearinghouse, thank you. Like, I like having this card because it's something if they don't deal with on the table, they lose. But it comes at the cost of a ganked, which I'm not ready to make that commitment. All right, so now we have to cut a bunch of cards. Obviously, that's bad because we like our cards. I don't know how to remedy this. Do we just add an agenda and play 54? We could do it. We damaged 2 off theme. How do we fix this? Do we have too much ice? No Jeeves? Jeeves is really nice with the 4/2s. It's not necessary, but it's nice. It also lets us purge with Sandbox and then install 2 cards. Like, I like the Jeeves. Like, obviously, you cut the Quinda. You cut the Quinda. Like, obviously, who are we joking? Like, that's what you do. But we're not going to do that. Vacheron isn't even a real agenda. We could actually add a Vacheron. Yeah, let's add 1 Vacheron. 54 card deck. Cut Tempest before Quinda. I'm like stoked about Tempest. I'm really stoked about Tempest. It works really well with our ride suppression, am I right? God, this card costs 2, I guess. I have a rules question. What happens if you do brain damage when brain chip is installed? You just do brain damage. They don't. I see. It's just, this is a flavor question, isn't it? Yeah, you damage the chip. It's okay. It's still fine. I have a rules question is always going to get me, even if it's a nonsense question. Because I just want to help. I just want to help. Okay, we're doing this. This is terrible. Let's go. Okay, so I'll do JNet. copy. Okay, so we'll basically see what the bad deck looks like, and then from there we can trim cards. We'll see like what works, what doesn't work. And it's kind of hard to tell when your deck is like, uh-oh, I just made a clip. Oh, great. I just hit the clip button on I just made a clip. I didn't mean to clip it. I think I just clipped it. Does it say in chat that I just clipped the VOD? Did my phone just vibrate because I clipped it? No. 1 second. Okay, I'm just updating Keyhole. Ryanite is better than Suppression? Wait, Ryanite is playable? No, Ryanite rotated. Let's see. Ryanite is from Breaker. From Sensen. Came in the same like idea as the 4 hand size one. Doesn't the runner hand size remain the same? They lose a card, but then they can still draw back up to the number scored agenda points. Oh, no, it's just brain damage as normal. Okay, it is a real rules question. So your maximum hand size will go down by 1, but then it goes up by 1. So it has no impact. Functionally no impact. Clip it and ship it. Why my phone vibrate? Somebody named Joe just took my #1 spot on Duolingo. Thanks, Joe. I actually need to do my Duolingo before midnight. Okay, we'll get there. Wait, there's 22 games right now? That's huge. I count about 17, but that's wild. That's actually really good. Hey, Dano. All right, let's do this. Ooh, Los. Our ice is pretty expensive. If Los forces us to res our ice, like a brainstorm at the wrong time, it's going to be problematic. So we're going to mulligan this. Early Vashron in the hand against criminals, not great. Best of luck, have fun. Dano's always pretty animated. All right, we got the Tempest Tech. This is Los. It says the first time a piece of ice is rezzed. Is that really how hard the F is cut off on off? Jemison Overrated will land you 4 brain damage with so much less. I believe it. I think it is very obvious how much better what's it called is Cerebral Overrated. CR 1.5 timings? What about them? So don't get siphoned. Oh, I forgot that's a thing. What? Why? Why? This should let me do it, right? That should... Oh, it's using the old ASA rules, right? Because this says in the server instead of in the root of the server. So this should work, right? This should work. Yeah. Yeah. Because this has been reworded. So... Because now you can install in the roots of stuff. Oh, flip switch. We're fucked. Oh, flip switch. We have a brainstorm in the hand and they install a flip switch. Click 1. Rongi, we made a really bad deck. Do we go down to 0 credits? Do we go down to 0 credits? No. Cat, it's going okay. We built the deck with a really scary ice, and then we got flip switch, click 1. So just swimmingly. How are you doing? How's your flesh and blood been? Yeah, totally. So this is Tempest. So basically, if they can lose clicks or suffer brain damage. So do we want to spend 2 credits on this board state? No, but spending 2 credits to end their turn is honestly seems okay. Flesh blood's okay. Didn't really catch me though. Ah, bummer. I'm gonna see how this goes. I'm gonna spend 2. I'm gonna go down to 4 credits. Can they flip switch the trace? No. Yes. No. During your turn. Yes. All right. We got him. Got him so good. Oh, we're in danger. Yeah, no, that was the play. What kind of monster would run flip switch against? I don't know. I don't know what this is. Or is FC? They get 2 credits, but like this is fine on 2 clicks. Like they have to trash something, pay 2 credits, or take a brain damage. Like all of those are fine. We're not playing Fairchild 3 for some reason. Yeah, we're trying to brain damage it. Yeah, Rongi. We're trying to hurt him. Yeah, of course. Dan would really be stream sniping. He turned up with Nero. Oh my god, Nero's our weakness. Is this Eternal? Raj, does Tempest screen Eternal power level? No, this is not Eternal. For some reason it's banned? Wait, what did I say for some reason? Alright. Alright, pay 2 credits. Oh, FC3 was banned. I totally forgot about that. Don't worry, we'll play slot machine. It'll be fine. We have 1 spin doctor, and we're gonna have a hand that's gonna be like such a clunker. Like such a clunker of a hand. Oh, just slow down, buddy. Yeah, this is not good. Is FC2 a card that new players aren't familiar with, which feels odd to me? Well, I don't know. The thing with Fairchild, the problem that I've classically always had is that like all the Fairchilds look the same. And it's really hard sometimes to tell which Fairchild it is. No further action. They can't trash this. This is fine. I'm worried they're going to like fully, what's it called, Forge Activation Orange to Loki or something, and then we're going to have an open HQ, which is a problem. So 2 bad hits here. They hit a Brainstorm. Flip switch. It's crazy how they banned 3 code gates and still feels like every good ice is a code gate. Yeah, kind of. This is Jeeves. Oh, Christ. How do we... Are we doing Jeeves campaign? So we'll go down to 2 and click up to 5. I feel like it's just better to click to, like, okay, so we go down to 2. We go 3, 4, 5. We could click up to 6. Okay, worth. I did the math. But you know that your deck is good. Nisei deemed it unfair, child. Okay. You know your deck is good when you're clicking for 4. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are playing sentries right now. Like Hydra's been just absolutely destroying in competitive. We're going in. Loki gains a subtype of the ice and subroutines the ice before all Loki's other subroutines. Okay, so they could jack out on this because this has technically 4 subroutines, but only 3 really matter. But they can't click through them. Counter Loki gains a subtype of ice and all that ice, so they can't click through these Fairchild subroutines. So they might just want to jack out because it's gonna hurt them. I love the Hydra's getting played. Hydra makes so much sense. It's 5 credits in Acme. It's like 3 credits in that, what's that other NBN one called, Reality Plus. This is as many credits as you get from a CS purge. They can jack out. Yeah, they're flip switching. Okay, we're good. They didn't trash the Jeeves, so we're gonna use their Jeeves campaign. Oh, that's not good, but it's fine. Our hand is mostly agendas. Brainstorm online. Yeah, we'll afford it eventually, I'm pretty sure. Now, this thing they need a decoder to get through because we have to choose another res piece of ice if there is. They discarded a networking. They're not gonna regret that. It's useless. Xanadu. Oh, okay. They're gonna de-res our ice. If they drop down, if they play, what's it called? Crossing the river, the die's been cast. Rubicon. If they play the Rubicon, I'm done. For Acme's Ice, which have a lot of subs, Henry Phillips is really good. Henry Phillips is fine. I don't think Henry Phillips is a competitive card. Have you thought much about a modern all typeless ice? Is it possible? I think there's like just Loki, Excalibur, and some other Jinteki trap ice. Yeah, you have Sandstorm, right? You have there's 2 trap ice. Miraju and another trap ice that I forget the name of. They said we can have money. What are they doing with all these DZs, MZs? They haven't used them. They're losing so much value. But like, here's where we have to get a ganked on cell combo. Konjin, yeah, Konjin is trap ice, and there's like Amor and all that other stuff as well. But like this looks rough. This looks rough for our HB friend here. And I think a big problem is that we only have one spin doctor because we can't jam our cards. Excal isn't legal, yeah. Excal or Mother isn't legal. No, we'll trash the brainstorm. It's fine. I think they're going in on birds. You might be right. And if they're on birds, I think we're okay with it. I think we're okay with burbs. Oh man, if we do this, we may as well draw first. Oh. Money, please. We're good. Okay, so if you haven't seen this last week, if they hit this and the Ganked fires, we wipe their whole board. We literally wipe their whole board because this triggers and the on-sell reinstalls the Ganked, and technically the new rules say that if a card's been added to the server. So I'm just going to install and double advance the off-world office. We could get the Rashida down too, but no. More like DZM dead. Hey, these have done nothing so far. But Blockade Runner is a really slow card, and they're spending 2 clicks to do this, and this is just not a very efficient card whatsoever. It's 2 clicks to draw 2. Compare that to like Class Act, which came out, years later. Caldera. Oh, Dano, how can you have no fun? Just in case. We have an infinite brain damage deck. Infinite brain damage actually doesn't care about Caldera because they're not an infinite money deck. So we'll score that out. Economy is going okay. Just in case. Yeah, okay. They haven't done so much so far. I'm worried to know what their thing is. Oh, okay, it's an Eli. That's good to have options with Loki because if they don't have a Fractor. But if they click through this together, Rashid is pretty good. We could have actually just jammed the Rashid and then sell it. But no, they're not going to click through it. I still have no idea what their deck is going to do, but we have suddenly 17 credits, which feels good. And they discarded a mutual favor, so they have the breakers they want? I almost forgot about Rashida. For one sweet second, I forgot what our deck was doing. For one beautiful, beautiful second before we drew Dooku into I totally forgot. I thought we were playing a good Asa deck. And oh man, what have we done? Okay, what's the order on Asa? You have to install the agenda first or after? The first time you install a card, you may install non-agenda. Okay, so you want to install the agenda first. Okay, server 3. Then that goes with the Tempest for obvious reasons. Then we install this in server 4. And then we do not hit. Fucking Caldera. We do not hit. Oh, the problem with this is they can fail the trace and then just pay 3 for Caldera. That seems fine for us. And then I'm not going to install another card. Well, we actually could install another card. And then we can advance this. And she is sadly unique. Loki gains 17 on encounter, but keeps them for the whole run. Gank combo? Yep, you can gank combo with this. But the problem, well, no, you can't because they can end the run, right? Like the beauty of the gank combo is that if the card encounters, if the card encounters, they can just end the run and there's no infinite. So you actually need something that doesn't have an end the run. Are you okay? Yeah, no, this is fine. This is good. And they can also do with riot suppression. It just costs them 3 credits. Oh man, Caldera. They're thinking of running this. Puffer. Okay. Technically, eventually, an efficient way to deal with our garbage. I will res this. Our money's not that good. I don't think we should have resed this. Wait, this is not fire? Loki ends a run, yeah, so no infinites, exactly. They could have just left this trace fire and then pen 3. So they actually spent... Wait, is trace 0? Oh, that's actually kind of funny. So we'll score this. We're on 5 credits, so we're pretty ripe for doof, but we always can duck it by, not really, we can't, no. But luckily we have this rezzed. So the puffer is not good. But they can click to make it good. And they can click it to 4 strength, which will be an issue because if this is a 4 strength, it's one of the cheapest ways in the game to deal with unsell. So the unsell Tempest gank. Hopefully they hit the Tempest first, like that's the idea. But like if they're spending half their turn blockade runnering, when are they going to click this up? Maybe they just never hit this button. We haven't seen any birds so far. Oh, bird. It's a bird. Okay. Very expensive as well. Now they reinstall this for cheaper. This is 2 credits on the install. Technically this fires first. So it's trace 1. We could have boosted this and they could have taken brain damage. We really shouldn't do that, but we could have. They're just going to take the brain damage anyways. Got him. Maui. All right. Let's go. So I think we're just going to play this, install this, and that's good enough. Because I feel like even if they get into this remote, like it's really bad for them. We've done 1 brain damage so far, but let me tell you, they must be quaking in their boots. This is what happens. You build like a functional Asa deck. And people are scared of Anoetic Managarm. When it's really Tempest ganked. The order they access is actually quite important. Now this we can score out. Obviously the Jeeves needs to stick for that to be a possibility. They're not drawing with blockade. Does that mean they're going to run? Overclocking the remote. Whoa, this actually might be fine for us. Because this is really expensive. I think we have the combo. I think we're doing it. Because they only have 7 credits. So it's forward, increase the strength. This is... Oh, they have 1 click left? No. That's... Then we get the Tempest and we still trash something. We're fine. We're okay. But you're right. They have 1 click left. So at least we know the Tempest fires for sure. So it's just as good. Wait, what? Okay. What do we choose and install trashed card? What are we doing? Tempest? We could do Rashida. I'm just going to do a Tempest. Wait, what am I doing? Choose a... Oh, installed card to trash. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. I guess we kill the killer. Seems like an issue. I guess. I think we'll put this in server 3. No. So we don't have to resonate this stuff, but the order of access matters. Because I think they're going to take 2 brain damage. It's better to choose a runner card for the sub. Yeah, okay. So the order here is really important. But not really, because they can't lose clicks. But we're going to trash another card. They hit the sandbox. That's obviously good for them. We're not going to win. So it's a ganked. So we'll trash it. So they have to re-encounter this. Now they can't break the subroutines. If they don't click through the you may install card from HQ archives, they lose the game. Well, not they lose the game. They lose their board. Wait, firing subroutines? Fire all? Oh no. They're not clicking? Yeah. You don't... In case you don't know, if I can reinstall a card, I can reinstall that ganked and it loops infinitely and you lose your whole board. You might want to click that one. You'll get what's happening at the first time you do it. I know, but that's not the nicest way to learn, is it? If we're playing against Eric, yes. Yay. Nailed it. It works on JNet now, right, Cardboard? You have a click to spare. Oh, they're firing it? Why? Okay. All right. Respect. Oh man, does it actually work now in JNet? Oh, it does. That's so good. But we have to do it painfully slow. They have to keep clicking continue. They have to keep clicking like 300 buttons. And now they can't trash any of these cards. So the Tempest sticks as well. This is gross. Yes. This. Fire. Trash. Yes. APM. APM HB. I feel like they're running manually. Yeah, I know. This is really bad. They take 2 brain damage. They can't trash them because the on sell has triggered. So the order technically was if they access the Tempests before they access the gank, they actually could trash these, but they can't. Some say Eric deserves to lose his whole board. Yeah, like man. This is tedious. Painfully slowly for you, but I relish every second of the 4 minutes it takes to score out with a combo Sparcerella Infinite, so I'm sure they can enjoy this too. Yeah. I don't feel good about this. This is like so just like painful to watch your board very slowly get trashed. Like very slowly. Oh, well, we can't kill. I think we were going to set up double Quinda, but double Quinda doesn't work. Wait, we can set up a lethal if they don't draw, right? Because we can over install a gank to install a Tempest on the last one. I think we will do that. Yeah, there's actually a really cool play here. Because we can trash a Tempest when we install a card here, and then we can get a ganked. So Fire and Broken 17. So check this out, right? We've hit this. Then, yeah, we do this, which we do in server 3. And because we installed a card, we can destroy any cards in the server. I'm pretty sure. How do I have to end it on my own? Yeah, I can't. Tempest, server 3. Are you allowed to do this? I'm pretty sure you are. And so it's going to need a gank shortcut. That's another brain damage. Oh no, the Tempest. Almost lethal. Almost lethal. They have 4 brain damage. The Quinda is going to res and it's going to do 1 brain damage. And then we can't riot suppression because they didn't trash anything. But they don't have a board. We'll trace this to 3. They have no hand size. So, wow, tread lightly, actually. That's pretty scary. Yeah, that was rough. Okay, I don't feel good about that. I do not feel good about this. We don't have a ganked here anymore, so we can't infinite. Yeah, they could have clicked through the unsell. I don't understand why they didn't click through the unsell. Like that was their choice, right? Like that did not need to happen. If they just clicked through the you may install 1 card from HQ. That's all they had to do, and they could have prevented that. I don't want to score this. I don't think we can't really afford it. I think we're just gonna click for 3. Now we don't have recursion. Like our 2 Quindas are out. Yeah, that's rough. I think, yeah, they chatted, do we end this here? I don't know. Yeah. Scroll, please. Yeah, excuse me. I did not scroll. No further action. You have to choose the review destroyer. Is there a rule about how long you're allowed to infinite? I think you're meant to say how many loops you're gonna do. You have to designate how many loops. So we could draw. They have to let this fire, which is interesting. I think we'll do draw. Oh, wow, snare is lethal. I forgot about that. I think we'll just set this up. Not that we need to. Yeah, now you play neural MP. Yeah, we have to play the complete image. I'd run this combo X times and do whatever it does. You can't block. Yeah, you just say a number. Oh, wow, snare would have been lethal here. I'm not going to res because it gives them money. So if they trash this, like we have riot suppression into install advance. Wow, they did. So it's literally riot suppression install advanced unless they want to die. Like, we give them a button that they can choose to die. So do server 3. In theory, we could have put another ice there. We should have. And then riot suppression. So because they trashed the card, it's either a brain damage or they have 3 fewer clicks. Yeah, once you have money, server 3 is a kill server. Yeah, exactly. Because we can just boost into Tempests. So they only have 1 click. So because they didn't choose to die. And they just click for a credit. Oh, man. That was disgusting. They didn't have to let that fire. Oh man, or how upset are people about like ganked combos? Good game. I'm scared to see the birds. Yeah, and then if they died, I think if anything, a ride suppression, they could have ran Jeeves, because Jeeves would have bought them a turn. But yeah, okay. Again, that's so important to know. As strong as the gank combo is, they had a click. They did it properly where you ran that server with a click left, because then you can ensure the gank combo didn't fire. Still, the Tempests would have been nasty, but it wouldn't have been obviously this nasty. Oh, no way. I wouldn't have seen it coming. I think the ruling that made this possible is a weird choice. It's so weird. Like, it's getting attention. Like, people are talking about it. I've seen threads on our Netrunner and Facebook and stuff like that. And I've obviously been playing it. But like, I don't know if it's competitively good to the point where you have to be worried about it. Like, maybe Nisei thought it was just like a niche interaction, but then it turns out to be reliable because like it has looked reliable. I wonder if they're going to change that. I do have it always had 2 the same type of breaker. Oh, no way. That's dope. Yeah, so flashbang is like one of the weird breakers that basically doesn't break ice, but it can just de-res ice. And I think it boosts really expensively. Puffer and flashbang. It's a shame we didn't see it. I had a brainstorm in hand, and click 1, you got down the flip switch. I really like Ganked as a card, but I think the ruling is kind of silly. Yeah, no, I kind of hear you. And like people were talking about originally, be like, okay, well you need, Drafter, and then you need a Project Kusanagi, or you need Ansel with like a wet work refit. And I don't think you need any of that. You just need 2 cards and it's good. I believe it. Also, the fact that we ran a 54 card deck and in 1 draw we drew like double Kawinda into Tempest was wild. Hey, thanks for the game. Let's do another one in there. It's 11:15. Got your end. Dano is a good sport. That being said, they didn't need to do that. Diogene, you up? He was first dibs on the next game. Okay. Best deck in the world. Diogene, do you want the next game? Do you have dibs? Okay. You host, I'll join. This interaction makes me less inclined to play APOC as terrible as having on both sides. Yuck. I know, Verbros, I really don't like APOC. But that's mostly because of, I think, how influence light it is and how easy it is to include in every deck. I think if APOC was like a huge include in the deck and came with like a real downside, which honestly I don't think it does right now, I'd be more into it. I'm in a game? Oh, Beans. How long are you going to be in a game for? Do you think infinite stuff is not needed coming from Magic? I dealt with infinite combo. There has been... You don't need to run from your game, Diogene. Oh, I feel... Okay. There hasn't been like infinites really in Netrunner. There's been like really, really, really niche ones. We've done them on the channel before that required like scoring a 5-3 agenda and then doing this and setting this up, like ridiculous stuff. And like that wasn't an issue because it wasn't competitive. Now the problem is like if people think the ganked combo is competitive, and I'm not sure. I really don't know. You host? Diogene, why don't you host? I'll jump in real quick. Because with the stream delay, it's easier if you host. Infinite is definitely not really needed since the Brainstorm ganked Helheim. The thing is, like, I don't even think, like, Brainstorm ganked Helheim, like, we've seen competitively, what's it called? Ganked Brainstorm decks, or ganked tier decks, like what Sid was playing last year. And, like, they're fine, but it's not a problem. I miss Surfer Lamb, Cube on Infinite Money Loops. Oh, man, I do not miss Surfer. What kind of deck you want me to try? Whatever you want. I'm playing HB. I do not miss Surfer in slightest. There used to be infinite money decks. Like, you could loop them infinitely through, like, pop-up windows and drafters and stuff. One of my Jank 45? Yeah, sure. I'm playing 54, which is the antithesis to a 45 card deck. Which is the anti-45. Bizarre 45. I'm so used to being in a lobby that I almost hit the leave button because I thought it was the start game button. All right, let's see. So Diogen, if you don't know, posts a lot of decks on RNDB. He's been doing a lot of decks that are 45 cards exactly. Not entirely sure why. I think it's just a deck building challenge. I do think that 45 card decks are generally worse 9 out of 10 times than a 49 card deck, especially on the corp side. Well, only on the corp side, right? Stream off. Okay, cool. I don't think they're better. It's just kind of like an arbitrary kind of goal that Diogen's been sticking to. And like, I think a lot of his decks have like strong archetypes and are working towards it. As a runner, 45 deck cards, what do you want? Oh, this is terrible. This is not that much better. Let's try and jam behind a Hagen. Let's see if Hoshiko has a boomerang in opening hand. I think Hoshiko is very likely to have a boomerang. Hey, cheers, man. 45 card corp decks are based. There has been some 45 card decks, like low corp decks, that have been okay because they've been specifically like Wayland Rush decks where you want the agendas early. But the consensus generally is that if you do that, you have their card density per agenda is lower or higher or whatever. It's just meant to be bad for you, right? 45 card next is love. So I think we want to score the Luminal early. We can do Luminal Hagen. I think we draw first. Hagen Ganked, this is honestly interesting. Like Hagen Ganked doesn't seem amazing, but if they hit in the wrong order and they hit this before they hit the agenda, it actually does just straight up end the run. I think we'll hedge fund here. If they hit the Ganked in open hand, they still have to pay 3. I do 45 card decks. And yes, it's deck building. Wanton! Okay, yeah, well, we can see that coming. What can you do? Wow, we kept the agenda. That's actually really, really good. Whoa, that's amazing for us. We actually can offshore this agenda? Okay. What? Like, you can't play around the Wanton. Like, what? Who knows you can get Wantoned? So we can do install advance. Yeah, I think we do that. Stargater bust. Oh, wow. Anacom, that's really good. Don't see that a lot in Anarch, but I like Anacom a fair bit. Jailbreak. So they're going to draw 2 C2. So it's Rashida off the top. They access the card now in this turn, so they will flip it for Hashiko, but it looks like they're not contesting this remote server. They don't have money, so they're checking archives. Nothing in there that fires. They start seeing some traps, so Ganked and Snare. Both 3 Fs in the list. But we're going to be on game point in a second, and we know the next card on R&D is not an agenda, so I'm not that stressed. I'm just going to score this. Purge. There we go. Good. You know, the kill card for this deck should be Chief Slee. I feel like she's probably a lot of influence, but I don't think people are bouncing off stuff a lot. Like, we do have a bunch of subroutines, but, like, it's Eli, really. Why are they running HQ? They know this card. Are they Paul-Hopping? Like, they just saw this card at the top. Oh, are they apocalypsing us? Oh, Cyber Deck Sandbox at the top. Bummer. Oh! Things were going really good for us. Until that happened. They could have ran back. Oh no, they could have ran back. Oh, now we have to score 4 agenda points. They could have got 6 points if they just kept going. They checked HQ, which is 100% a goof. Like, they knew what that card was. Infinite Chief Slee counters with Gang combo. Oh! Oh my god, Infinite Chief Slee. I'm only understanding now. I like it. You fire the 5 Brainstorm, so doesn't automatically have the 5 Slee counters. Flawless. What's the cost on Chief Slee? Is she like a whole turn to do, or is she single click? Oh wow, okay. We'll boost 1 because we have the money. So it's basically lose 2 clicks to take a brain damage. Honestly, they can take the brain damage. It's a single click. Oh my god, that is beautiful. And you can install her from archives. Well, no, you can't unless you have 2 ganks on the server, because it's like lose 2 clicks. So this temp has honestly been fine for us. Like, you play 4 for Snare. And now the Fairchild's a bit tricky to deal with. What is this? We don't have a deck. We literally don't have a deck. We're just jamming agendas. We have 54 cards, so sometimes you get these like really uneven draws. They have no breakers yet. But like our game is just hogging. Our whole deck has been reduced to hogging. We can't res this. One clicking also res before the acts is a surprise instead of having been up for the initial ice encounter. Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird thing. Like if you res and they hit an Eli, they probably still bounce a bit. I don't know. Now, if we res this, we don't have enough money to score out. We will eat the fermenter. If we res the on sell, we can trash a card. They break the steel. Then we can install a card from archives. We get infinite gank combo here. So this is actually really interesting. Because if they break this, and if they break the... We can like infinite gank combo and trash their board. But that's not that relevant. So we're just gonna... They don't have breakers yet. We're just gonna res the Hagen. So we can't score out. We're credit short. So we trash that. They lose a lot of money in the run. Cancel sleep from archives, I think, since there's no res window during an access. Oh yeah, no, you're right. There's no res window. We're credit short here, which is a problem. They know exactly what they need for this remote server. There's no way we're gonna get up to unsell credits. So I think we just click for 3. Jeeves doesn't really help us next turn. I don't think they're in diversion. We've seen way too much. We've seen too much influence on this. If they're in diversion, we get blown out. But we're one short of this. Wildcat Strike? You definitely get the money. I don't want you to draw into your breaker. But that's nice when you draw one off Onacom. That's kind of cute. I like that a lot. Purge? Oh my god, Janktivist. Yeah, we should have purged and we would have been able to res on sell. I am not a smart man. Oh, I keep forgetting whenever we have sandbox, we click for 3 like a... Yeah, it's not very smart. If we lose that to the unsell credit, we'll know what we've done. But like they really need Boomerang here or Paperclip Run. Yeah, we could have been at 6 and we'd have on sell into Hagen. That's a much better server. Oh, hey, Nana. She's joined. Jailbreak, okay. We can't really afford to res this and score out, so we just have to hope for the best. We have to steal 2 agendas. This is the only real 3-pointer in our list. Trash go into... Alright, double G's. That was weird. Your wanton missed the only agenda. And then the entire deck was just Hagen. Braindance Sports Awesome. Yeah, yo, Audacity. Let's go. 24 credits to their 26. Here's the jank. Okay, let's see what you got. Glut Yes, they reworded the words on Glut but they did it wrong. Nisei has to correct this. Glut is a remarkably bad card. It is a terrible card. This card's so much fun. I don't have good things to say about this card. Okay, so you haven't seen this card. Make a run archives accessible instead of action cards. Force the cards to choose 5 cards from archives and add them to HQ Fabled and trash that many cards from HQ at random. So they do it now. We do like, okay, Ganked, Tempest, like Hedge Fund, Rashida, Fairchild. And then this happens and then we have a better hand. Right? Like that was honestly good for us. I don't think it works like that. Sort of. It has the chance of improving a hand heavily. Like you just did. Like giving back a Rashida is disastrous. Like we traded a Jeeves for a hedge fund, which we do. See 50% acute, why not play information system? Or why not just play legwork, right? I don't think there's any, I don't think it's, that doesn't change too much. Nisei changes so you get consume counters. Yeah, Nisei unfortunately reworded this so that the runner's trashing the cards, I think, so you get consume counters. Stream on, 1 axis. I forgot this. 2 or 3 cards access. Well, legwork is good. You can play legwork though, and not risk me trading bad cards for good cards. Because usually the cards you have in HQ outside of a combo deck, and admittedly this is disruptive against a combo deck, are the cards that you're not playing now. Well, I don't know. Like Glut Cipher is just not gonna be good. Yeah, Jailbreak HQ. Yeah, exactly. Like, think about this. Okay, so like in our last games, what was our hand? Our hand, like in the Acme game, like our hand was an extra toll booth, like an extra ice, like things we're throwing out like Salem's. And if you do this and then we draw back like, you know, Rashida, a hedge fund, like it's just terrible. Usually if you're keeping 5 cards because it helps. Usually the 5 cards in my hand are the worst cards that I have chosen not to play to this point, unless I'm flooded, which with spin happens less than ever. Yeah, I don't know. I think this card is like, I've played this card on stream before and honestly has put me so far behind. Meta's all about combo deck? Sure, but if you disrupt a sports, you're putting back into hand Biotic and Audacity. Like, you're not really disrupting, right? You're just shuffling. You're just shuffling. And then if you put like agendas into archives, like that's fine too. They're okay with that. I don't know. This just seems so much less good than Wanton. Oh, that Vacheron's nice. But you can just play Imp or Wanton, which are generally good 100% of the time. Yeah, Glut Cipher, I don't think can ever be a competitive card. It has a chance of literally doing nothing. It is one of the few cards that you can play and technically has a chance of impacting the board state none. And admittedly we only had 2 cards in hand, so it's low, but like this almost did nothing. Yeah, I'm not into it. Yeah, there's just way better ways to do it. Right? Like our hand, obviously we had 5 cards, it's way more likely to change, but like I've played this and nothing has happened, which, you know, happens. Better would be Sneaked or Beta? I don't know. I'd just play Hippo. I would play this card as a corp in a lot of decks. Yeah, exactly. Like there are a bunch of decks that would gladly do this to themselves. Where you have a bad card at 5 hands and you'd be like, I'm just going to shuffle these into archives and draw 5 random cards, and it's very likely to be better. In fact, their sports metal decks would probably do it at some point if the card was cheap enough. If it cost 2 as a corp, you wouldn't do it to yourself. The finish at turn, damn, I'm good. How many agendas are left in the deck? It is like so ridiculous. We have 1 on top, 3 agendas left in deck. 3 agendas left in 36 cards. No, 4. Sorry, 4. Didn't see a food. Yeah, we just got like that's what happens when your deck gets bigger. Like there's just more variance inherently. Like you can draw just 5 agendas. Well, okay. I feel like the variance is higher. Oh, how I've tried. Genetic sequencing? What is genetic sequencing? What is genetic sequencing? No, this is the Nisei counter agenda. This card I like. I used to play this card in the pet deck. I'm moshing. I've had worse. Dreamnet, Anacom, and Jailbreak. I like the what's it called? The Wildcat with Anacom. I think the Wildcat with Anacom is cute. It's just I don't feel like Anarch card draw is really low right now. Well, it's lower than it has been a long time, and I think 0 can easily take the spot of Anacom. And then if you play a console, like you can just play. Generally, they play like, you know, more value-based consoles, things like, Keiko, stuff like that, which you need more support. I don't think the Anacom is awful. I think it's kind of cute, especially when you spend your whole turn on Wanton and end up drawing a card. Like that stuff is nice. I think it's better than Swift. Election day, yo, people have been trying election day in like combo decks. Like I think I've seen a single election day in a sports metal deck before. Yeah, I believe Glutsiver can be fun, but I just don't like it. Ketchbun, Ketchbun's good. Yeah, but a lot of these cards are slow. Fermenter with no support is really slow too. I wouldn't play Fermenter with no support. Maybe there's a cookbook or something. Maybe they're also on like Botulus. Okay, for me it's 11:30. I think we're gonna call the stream there. We got a brain damage kill. No, we didn't. We scored out. We didn't. Did we get a brain damage kill? I don't think we did. I think we scored out with ride suppression. I think it's really tricky. I don't think there's just enough ways. Like it feels like you have to do the brain damage to soften them up and then kill through some other means. So that's a possibility. I still think Ganked is really powerful. Coindicalo did 2 brain damage, which feels okay. And Tempest actually has been doing work. But I feel like this deck obviously needs a bunch of work. I think you need to get it down to 49. I reckon you drop a snare and play 2 more Spin Doctors. Like Spin Doctor seems so strong. But I do love the idea of ride suppression. Brain damage difficult. Oh, Diogene, there you are. Thanks for the game, eh? I'm going to close this one down. GG. It is for sure. You did 5 brain damage and trash 7 cards. Yeah, but our opponent like let us do that. That was their choice. So it's a bit of a bummer. One thing I said before, I'm just going to say it again, is that there is a chance that next Thursday stream won't happen. I won't know until like the day before, but there's a chance that I won't be available on the Thursday evening. If that is the case, we won't stream on Thursday. We'll stream on that following weekend, and we'll stream at a time that makes more sense for like EU. So we'll do it in the morning or in the afternoon. I don't really know when that'll be because obviously I have to kind of like roll with the punches. But if you want to watch that stream, if you want to follow or subscribe or what is it? I think the notification button on Twitch or on YouTube, you'll get a notification when we go live. So that's good. But again, might not be here next week. So we'll figure it out. I honestly don't know what to do right now. Like it's been a bit like today, I did not know what we would stream tonight. And I feel like we need a bit more structure. Smash the like and subscribe. I feel like maybe we need enough structure. Maybe we just need suggestions or ideas what to do. Because like, yes, last week we had a really good idea. And because like there haven't been too big changes to the meta and the competitive format is not something I'm very interested in right now. Like I don't want to play more sports metal or Max and you know how it is, or Acme. So I don't know. I feel like we need to know beforehand what we're doing a bit better, and maybe we'll structure something. I think there's some other stuff we could be doing as well. Brick, you have a fun idea for a deck to build with? I'm interested to hear. But like that sort of stuff I'm always open for. Also, if there's like decks you want to send in to try, to test, like I'm definitely down to do that. We might just keep it a bit more open and loose, which is good. Make TLDR do stuff. So like, okay, I need to like open up about this sort of stuff because there's a bunch of cards that like I just dismiss. Because I'm like, this is bad. There's almost no way to make this thing good, and I don't want to try it. But like, admittedly, we could probably spend the time. Like, I think there's an issue where there's some cards I just dismiss without testing them. Admittedly, there's some cards I don't think are good, and I've tested them, and in my testing have proven to be bad. This is just one of those cards that just nobody plays because it's positional, and like it's either cheaper to break this or cheaper to break the next ice. It's not a problem. But yeah, I don't know how to do this. Why not try those so much hated 40 or 45 card corp deck? Because Diogene, the problem with those decks is like it's fundamentally doesn't change anything about the game. Like that's the thing that like doesn't tickle me in any sort of way, right? Like if you have a deck restriction and then you do something goofy to like build around the deck, like say you make a challenge, like I'm going to build a deck that has no cards with proper nouns in it. That's an awful suggestion, but like all my cards are going to be odd cost. Like if you do something like that and then build around it, I think you can make an interesting deck. Right, like we used to have fun back in the day to build like I'm gonna build a deck with only neutral cards and see what you can do. Admittedly, when it comes to like building a 40 card deck or 45 card deck, a lot of times is you just take a 49 card deck and cut out the worst 4 cards. I could try it as in like to see if I feel like it feels better. From my understanding and from my testing that I've done that so far, it hasn't been the case, but like it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything different. And it's also kind of hard to tell whether it's better or worse. Like you need to jam a lot of games to come up with the stats of whether that's a thing. Just like mathematically, it depends on the deck. Like they're not all decks are made equally, where I think reducing the deck size benefits you versus benefiting the runner. So it's like in terms of a design challenge, it's not exciting to me because it's just like taking a deck and taking out the 4 worst cards. Like that's not, I don't think there's much creativity to it as opposed to like a creative deck building challenge, but I hear you. I know someone who did a neutral only deck. It's called 50 Shades of Grey and lets the opponent randomly pick an ID before playing. That's really cool about the ID thing. I think we call our decks like going gray or net neutrality. I don't know if we ever 50 Shades it, but I think when we played it, we always like had to play Polana or ETF back in the day. Full neutral cards is fun. Fake Geist is starting to see more play. You could have a crack at that. Giles, what is Fake Geist? Is that As or is it Shaper? I feel like it's Shaper. Variety stream? As in like variety decks or like variety stuff? Eternal seems fun. Yeah, I think we can goof around with Eternal a bit. It's 49 Shades of Grey, really. It's As. Yeah, that's sort of the thing that I do want to try out. Like playing As a Tech Trader or just playing Tech Trader in general because no one's doing it. And I think we need to celebrate this card before it goes because it's like one of the best cards. Do we have a weird unplayable ID anymore like Professor or Nasir? I think, okay, so yes and no, but okay. The problem was like Professor presented itself as like a nice puzzle, like something people wanted to touch and play with, right? Like Professor or Nasir. But right now I think the IDs that are the less playable are not particularly interesting and kind of just known to be underpowered, right? Like, what's her name? Hawk Lady. Jesminder, I think Jesminder's fine. I think we've seen competitive Jesminder decks. They play a very narrow part of the card pool. Like it's just a Shaper deck that plays Hot Pursuit and plays Amakua into IP block. Omar is fine. I just don't think there's any reason to play Omar with Rebirth. Like it's just a worth deck that has 3 less influence. Khan, yeah, that's it. Like Khan is one of those things, but like it's the same thing where it's like we try and build a Builder of Nations deck. Like I do it and then I try it and then I forget and I get upset about it and we don't do it for 4 months. Like Khan is similar. Now Khan did get a bit of support like with DZ MZ Optimizer, but her ability is just, there's nothing that interacts too well with it that like you couldn't do better somewhere else. And that's where it gets really excited about things like Nasir or Professor. They can make a unique deck that nobody else can do. And Khan's ability, let alone lack of influence, like doesn't, like I don't understand what she's promising. Because if she's promising the birds and derezzing, I'd probably want to do it in Los. If she's promising like cheap Shaper installs in Aesop's Pawn Shop, I'd probably play As. There's just, the dream isn't there. If Con was reduced by like 4, it might be decent. Yeah, exactly. Like Con could be reduced by 3 and then it would be fun. Maybe busted. I don't know. But like it just, yeah, it didn't end anything. Isla, we do not see a lot of meta, but we don't, like Isla is also like, I think quintessential is that sort of thing. Like Isla is boring. Like Isla doesn't do anything different than any Shaper. She's in fact more boring than every other Shaper that's in the meta right now because she doesn't have an ability. She basically lets you sideboard slightly. She lets you have more, like she's Andromeda of Shaper, which I'm not excited about. Really not excited about. And same thing with Nat. Like, okay, now we're just dunking on ideas. But like Nat's the same sort of idea. Nat doesn't, okay, admittedly Nat I think is a bit more playable now. Back in the day it was really hard because there was a lot of Obokata protocol and being on small hand size. But like just gaining a credit every turn is not exciting. So the part of Nat is not Nat's ability. The part of Nat is like playing Cradle and stuff like that. And there's all the low hand size support cards are generally really underwhelming. Like the ones that say you can't take net damage or stuff like that. It's basically just Cradle. And I don't think there's any other reason to play Nat besides 40 deck size, which is not a thing anymore. Isla's the Queen combo deck. Yeah, I think Isla you'll see as an APOC deck. You'll see as combo, stuff like that. But that's it. She's just meant to be for reliability. She's not exciting. She doesn't let you do anything that other decks couldn't do besides be a bit more consistent, which is like not the part of this game I'm excited about. Play that Fighter Anarch. The Fighter Anarch I would play. I think this is a good example. Like this is an ability that I think is interesting and it makes the opponent play differently. This is not the Fighter Anarch. Is this the Fighter Anarch you're talking about? But like Alice Merchant is really exciting. The problem with Alice Merchant is that there's 3 Spin Doctors and every deck has 3 Spin Doctors. So her ability did get a fair bit worse, unfortunately. Yeah, Rakatha, he's right about there's no IDs that make really crazy decks because that's what I want. I want an ID that when printed like really makes you rethink what you can do. And maybe that's the onus is on me and I'm selling a short where I think like, oh, it's been solved. And maybe it's not. Maybe you can build a really cool Alice deck. But like the problem is when the ID just says like, here's some incremental value. Like here is, and I'm not like upset that Hoshiko exists, but like Hoshiko decks and Lu decks to a large extent and Val decks are very similar. And the idea is just how you play it to squeeze that extra value. But it's not that sort of deck building challenge that I think people want with things like Professor and Nasir. I think that's all I'm saying. Somebody took my Apex deck to OTG and got 3-3. Heck yeah. And the thing, Apex is like a good idea. Apex is like the sort of thing where it promises something different and it's a different deck building problem. And I like that. Maybe we should try the obvious designer intent cards that never took off, like using Nat and all the trash card abilities, for example. We get to play Ramagen Reliant. Los is fun. I do like Los. And Los is the sort of thing that I love building. I think we published a Los deck. I don't know how to find Los anymore. That was actually quite fun. But the problem is like the deck is really, really bad into the competitive meta. Like that's also an issue too, is like it depends what you queue up. If you queue into a low stack with like birds for DRS package against sports metal, it's not a game. Like that is so frustrating that there's like a really big, well, I don't know. This is for most card games, but there's a huge gulf between like the best and like not the best. What would you want for an ID ability? Standboy. I don't know. You have to spend a lot of time thinking about that. Also, how's it going? I don't know. I think there's always been, I'm gross, excuse me. I think there's like certain ideas that I'd always like to play with. I think, and I would love a juggler as much as I don't know much about juggling. I like the idea that you could basically make something that's like street chess from back in the day and have it like pins that move up and down ice, and when you catch them or, you know, something like that would be really fun. I think that's really fun. But that's like, I don't know, top down or bottom down design. When it comes to like what mechanics, I'm not sure. I have to think about it. On the corp side, Hyobu suffers from that as well. The reveal mechanic is neat, but gaining credits, yeah, M-Doge, how's it going? Yeah, Hyobu is another thing where like, I don't know. Do you know what also falls into the category, but actually like gets me a bit more interested is like Harsha Chandra, which like it's been around for a long time and nobody's done anything with this. This is interesting. Like this actually does something unique, and there are cards that can play off of this. Hyobu, there really isn't. It just makes some of the mediocre cards a bit more playable. But this is like, you know, the kind of direction where this is probably actually one of the ideas if someone asks like what's the Nasir or the Professor, this is where I'd go, because this is honestly interesting. 17 influence is what you want to see on an ability that's this like, but I think this is closer where I'd want to play with. And the question is like, what do you do with this? Do you do focus group? Do you just Salams really aggressively? Like, what do you do? I think focus group is a card that's seen no play that you actually could play. Anywho, Tau and Wu are probably the most interesting deck build for right now, but they're Shaper. I don't think Wu, maybe I'm a bit tired of Wu. I think Tau can be really interesting. There's a lot of ways to play Tau, and I feel like Tau also has like that same sort of Leela-esque skill ceiling, which rewards additional play and tinkering the deck, which is good. The first time you install a card each turn, you may install another card of the same type from your grip. Make it green. Oh, wow. And it like, I'm thinking 15 influence? That'd probably be good. Like 3 recurring credits to trash stuff, but only upgrades, you know? Anywho. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about that. Like there's a lot of like really good, not only groups on like Discords and stuff, but like there's a design a card, a thread, I think every week, if not, it feels like every day sometimes on r/Netrunner, where people are pitching ideas, and a lot of them are like, you know, quite nice. But I haven't spent enough time thinking about like what ID I would build. Remember the Nemec stuff? The Nemec stuff back in the day had some really fun ideas. There was like an HB one that says when you play an operation, trash the top card of your deck, reduce the cost of the operation by 2. Fucking love it. Such a fun idea. I've been really focused on that one. I think it's one of my favorites because it's like risk versus reward. It's exciting. There was that really good NBN one, man, where it was like, what was it? At the beginning of your turn, you play with the top of R&D face up. But at the beginning of the turn, you can draw a card. On the beginning of any turn, you can draw a card or gain a credit, but you have to play with the top of your R&D face up. Yeah, it's cool. I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff there, but I need to spend some time thinking about it. Anywho, that's going to be it for tonight. We'll be maybe back next week. We'll definitely be back next week, but it might not be on a Thursday, as I said before. But that's largely it. Oh, Shaper Virus stuff was really cool. Yeah, there's a lot of good designs there. Anywho, thanks so much for watching. Huge shout outs to everyone we played games with tonight. Not Eric. And huge shout outs to anyone who's hung out in chat. Anyone's watching the VOD. Hopefully you're doing well. Check out twitch.tv/San Francisco if you want to check out the OTG tournament. It's all on there. It's well produced, good quality Netrunner, competitive Netrunner. And we'll be back in a week. Ciao.